It's official, guys! The competitive Pokemon scene is a complete joke. The official competitive scene, at least on the VGC side, because right here we have this announcement, 2016 Pokemon Winter Regional Championship stream information. They're going to be streaming the St. Louis Regionals, and they're focusing on the Masters Division. First off, I do have to say, I applaud the Pokemon Company. They are making legitimate efforts to try to make the Pokemon competitive scene legitimate. But then they go and throw all those efforts out the window with things I will discuss in this video. You know, they're making these articles, they're trying to promote the competitive side, and this is how you do it. You get people engaging in your stream, you get people coming to your YouTube channel, you get people just talking about it and getting interested in the competitive scene from things that are directly official, the things that are going to provide that retention, and this is how you do it. They're doing it in the right way, but the people they're doing is absolutely wrong, and here is the mockery that is the competitive scene. We're excited to announce that three-time world champion Ray Rizzo will join our video game commentating crew. You know why this is an absolute thing? He's a cheater. The official Pokemon Company is allowing a cheater to commentate for the regionals, and also Scott Glaza involved. So I'm pretty sure that Scott Glaza wrote this article that I just destroyed in another video, because this is not only a terribly written article, but it's misrepresentative of the meta, and it just doesn't do any justice to what Pokemon represents, and it's just a poorly written article that has bad movesets and stuff just scattered throughout. So that's pretty bad. And also, Scott Glaza is something I have had a confrontation with, because he is very, very corrupt when it comes to actions that he has taken against me. This is a Pokemon Company official. I mean, all you have to do is watch the video. So I'll leave the link in the description about the full video, but pretty much what he did was he abused his power as a Pokemon Company representative. I was at the PAX Pokemon tournament, an official tournament, and it was playing the VGC rules. He effectively abused his power as a Pokemon official to lie to the tournament host to give me a loss and effectively disqualify me from the tournament because of it. And it's not like he was acting as someone that wasn't from Pokemon Company. He pulled a business card, said, "I work for Pokemon, he's wrong," which was just a blatant lie on his part, because he has biases against me, which he admitted to, which I prove in this video. So he was aware of who I was, and he took that out on me just off the record, off the official Pokemon record, and got me removed from the tournament, which is pretty freaking corrupt. That, you know, there's agendas being pushed here in the Pokemon community, and it gets even more silly when we see a cheater like Ray Rizzo. Now, I already did a video on this. Pretty much what happened was there was a Dream Ball Aegislash involved, and shenanigans happened. So I don't think it's in screen. Nope. All right. So we'll talk about the Aegislash. But effectively, there was a Dream Ball Aegislash at Nationals that he was using, and in every single way, this Pokemon is impossible and was hacked. That the way that breeding mechanics work is that the female passes down the Pokeball. So tell me how I can get a 5th generation female Aegislash, and then I can tell you that he wasn't cheating, except it's absolutely impossible. And there's actually some nice articles about it. So Nugget Bridge Log confirms Ray Rizzo is a cheater. So Ray Rizzo, he made a Facebook post saying that it was his friend's Aegislash, and he didn't realize that the Dream Ball was illegal or anything like that. If you're a 3-time world champion, you should know more about Pokemon, so I feel like he was playing dumb, and fortunately, we are covered on this. So, Nugget Bridge Logs confirmed that Ray Rizzo is a cheater, and then he's even talking about wanting to use power saves. I'm totally getting a power save. This is Ray in a Nugget Bridge discussion chat log that was pulled by this guy and then analyzed. Also, other people. Cybertron, does anyone have experience with power saves? I've also met many VGC players that are kind of on the inside, or at least they're on the high level side, and they talk about a lot of very popular Worlds qualifiers and Nationals players using power saves and stuff. Like I said, I'm not saying that they do, but I'm saying I have accounts of other people confirming that they have cheated, and like they themselves have cheated as well. That it's not hard to get a cheated Pokemon through the hack check for Pokemon if a Dream Ball Aegislash can get it. That Pokemon's absolutely impossible, and that's the thing about just hackers in general. They look for a way around the system. So this is a whole discussion about like Ray and the implications of him getting a power save and using it to cheat, and then the Aegislash mysteriously appearing. And then there's this awesome article right here that is like the whole breakdown of this. So cheating in my VGC, you need to read this article. It actually has a lot of really in-depth breakdowns I'm just kind of skimming over. So the biggest thing right here is illegally manipulate Pokemon. This is an excerpt from the rules. Use of external devices to modify, create items or Pokemon in a player's party is expressly forbidden. Now, power save means you're going to be cheating items. Like, if you've used that, there's like no way that you're not cheating items if you're also, and it's very likely you're cheating Pokemon or stuff. So that's kind of the first sign. Now, it's impossible to check for cheated items because they stack and their data isn't that traceable and whatnot, so that's a bit of a problem. But with Pokemon, it's also still pretty hard because you can make a cheated Pokemon that gets past hack check. But here's the big part. Players found to have Pokemon or items that have been tampered with will be disqualified from competition, regardless, this is the biggest part, regardless whether the Pokemon or items belong to the player or were traded for. This is probably the most important thing, because what people will say is, what if I get a cheated Pokemon from someone else, or if I get a Pokemon off the Wonder Trade? Why am I going to be punished for bringing a Pokemon that I didn't create? I didn't cheat it, so why am I responsible? The rules don't care. The rules make it to where you can't play dumb, because that means I could have my friend cheat for me and then be like, oh, I wasn't cheating, see, the IDs don't match up, it's not my Pokemon, even though you fully knew that that Pokemon was cheated. And even if you didn't, you shouldn't be using a suspicious Pokemon anyways. This makes it to where you are responsible for your own Pokemon, and later in the rules it says that, like, verbatim, just, you are responsible for your own Pokemon. Now, he did make a Facebook statement that he got the Aegislash from a friend, and he used that to breed the Aegislash and whatnot. But that doesn't seem right. Like, it seems like he's just covering his ass since he said it after the fact and he didn't realize the Aegislash was cheating. Seems like he got caught, and his hands are also red-handed because freaking power save chat and whatnot, and the Pokemon's still illegal regardless, because in the rules it also says a Pokemon must be obtained through natural gameplay. That Aegislash is not obtained through any form of natural gameplay whatsoever. Like, that, it doesn't matter where you get that Aegislash from. Even if you take two cheated parents and you breed them into a quote-unquote legal Pokemon, you know, the Aegislash is the proof that that is not possible, because that Dream Ball cannot exist on an Aegislash in any untampered way, in any naturally occurring way. So by the loosest definition of the rules, it's cheating no matter what, and he's caught with a cheated Pokemon. You can't take this Facebook post for what it is when he's trying to cover his ass, is what I'm saying. And that's what it seems like. So, then there's, you know, the chat logs and stuff, and it gets even more suspicious right there. Meanwhile, Nugget Bridge deleted any discussion on the incident. So they're also trying to cover this up. Now I feel like my tinfoil hat is getting ever so more tightly wrapped around my head, because it seems like this giant conspiracy, you know, that everyone's just looking out for each other in the Nugget Bridge community. Generally, the most competitive of players, they form on Nugget Bridge and they all really stick together, and that's where I'm hearing these stories that they just cheat together as well, apparently. Not saying who, not confirming any of this, except for, you know, Ray Rizzo, who has been pretty much confirmed to do so. But yeah, a lot of people have filled me in, and it's just one of those things, like, we can prove some of these things. I bet there's probably places where people have digged and confirmed others of cheating as well, and they don't have their titles removed, they're not disqualified, they're not banned from tournaments for being cheaters. And that's just because the Pokemon Company does not care about the rules at all, and here's the biggest joke. Because Scott Glaza, I mean, just watch the video and you'll get a better understanding, but he ignored the rules. He lied about the rules and used his power to make that happen, and the Pokemon Company just doesn't care. They don't care about cheaters that have been proven to be cheaters. Apparently, if you cheat and you're a good enough player, you get rewarded, and you get thrown on their commentating team. That's absolutely absurd, and, you know, everyone's just all together in this higher-up part of the Pokemon Company. And this is where it gets even crazier. Here's, like, it might just sound like a conspiracy theory, but I actually emailed the Pokemon Company. I sent a support ticket and I said, hey, what's going on with this? And they responded with, we are aware this happened. So that means either Scott Glaza told them to try to, like, get his side of the story first, or, you know, somehow this information made it to the higher-ups in the Pokemon Company. This was not an official event, so we are not going to rule anything against him. Actually, here's one of the responses I got from a TCPI lead, the Pokemon Company International lead. I don't know if that's like the top dog or something, but this made it to the higher-ups. Our understanding is that this was an unofficial event. Unfortunately, we are unable to review it for that reason. Thank you for our understanding. Why? There is no understanding here. I even sent a message afterwards. I said, can you tell me why you're unable to review it? Am I not a trustworthy source for some reason? Even though, like, we can get Scott Glaza admitting to a secondhand account, again, in the video that I posted, he admits to these things. So, I mean, there's all this. And then it got closed. Like, there was no response to my response of this. It got closed after that, and the lead is just shoving this under the rug, and the corruption continues. That's absolute trash. any self-respecting company, you know, anyone that represents their company, they're always liable. This is people like getting fired on Facebook because they say some kind of comment that goes against the beliefs of the actual company they're representing. And here he goes and actually represents Pokemon directly. He pulls out his business card and then he goes and shows biases or some kind of agenda against me, and then pushes that to have me get a loss and be effectively kicked out of the tournament because of it. And it's absolute bull that the Pokemon Company just lets that go. So apparently, working for the Pokemon Company is the sweetest deal ever. You get to break the rules all the time. He actually broke the #1 rule of Pokemon. First rule of the game, which is the spirit of the game. Like, he actually was interacting with my opponent directly and already showing some kind of tampering right there. Again, it's in the video. So he broke all the rules. Like, this is why it must be the sweetest job ever to work for Pokemon. You get to break all the rules that you want. You get to do whatever you want. You're not liable for the company as long as you're not at an official event. So you can go and just do whatever you want, which is absolutely unreal. And then no one cares, and then you get rewarded by being a commentating crew, and you get to write trash articles on the website. I mean, I'm wondering what's going on in the Pokemon Company right now. Again, I'm going to say the competitive side. The Pokemon Company as a whole, I love it. I love Pokemon more than anything. Pokemon's my life. Pokemon's my job. Pokemon is everything I have. And I don't mean this in like a sad way. I mean this in a way I'm proud to say that. I don't take that as an insult. No one can ever hurt my love of Pokemon by trying to turn it against me like that. It's my everything, and I want it to be that way. But the competitive side, like, also I gotta say, for the Pokemon Company, they're doing things right. 20th anniversary is going great. Pokemon Go, Pokemon everything, it's looking really strong. The competitive side, though, is an absolute joke, and it's all just friends there, apparently. That either the higher-ups don't care about Scott Claus's actions, or everyone's friends and they pardon him for whatever they want. Now, I actually I've met people that are in the Pokemon Company that are fans of mine, or I know people that know how the Pokemon Company works, and like they say, yeah, it's that, and there's also people that are directly against me, which is why Scott Glaza wasn't really punished for being objectively biased against me and coming in with a preconceived agenda against me, which is absolutely unreal that this is allowed in the Pokemon Company. So it's all friends, or it's all people that don't care. I've also been to events where, you know, you can tell the judges they aren't as involved as they need to be. They're misrepresenting the rules. They have their own idea of how Pokemon should be played, and they break the rules to allow that idea to happen. I bet you there's people in the comment section, people watching this video right now, that have experienced this firsthand, either with Pokemon Company employees, volunteers, officials, someone representing the Pokemon Company just not caring. And that's destroying the Pokemon Company right now. And the best I can say is, well, just let it go, you know? If you want to be competitive in Pokemon, I say go for it, but if you don't want to dedicate too much to it, just give up on being like an official competitive player. It doesn't matter at this point. All I can say is play Pokemon for fun. Try to keep the spirit of the game as alive as possible, because that's what I do. I play for the spirit of the game. I play for the love and enjoyment of Pokemon. I feel like it's lost more and more every day. And places like Nugget Bridge, places just like that are condensing the overall competitiveness, that are just improving and promoting toxicity for their own ideas of how the game needs to be played and represented. Like, that's what you can see in this article. If this article is, I'm like 99% sure at this point that the article is written by Scott Clausa. You can see that it's his ideas from his experiences of metagame and nothing else. And a lot of these are bad in some ways. Sometimes they're pretty decent. Like, the representation there is one-sided heavily, and it's on the bad side. It's on the side that doesn't represent the spirit of the game at all, and it's destroying the competitive integrity of Pokemon. So if you want to be a competitive player, just don't. Just enjoy Pokemon for fun. Don't let anyone get in your way and tell you that you're a bad player. You know, here's the problem. If you beat someone, then that means they were bad, or if you lose to someone, that means you were absolute trash, and like, it's the I win, you suck mentality. And that's an absolute terrible mentality that we see in Pokemon. If someone is worse than you in Pokemon, you don't condemn that. Like, I see that in fan fries all the time. Oh, the opponent had a noob team, so the ally didn't deserve the win, or the fan didn't deserve the win. That's terrible, and that mentality grows more and more every day. And it's corrupting, and it's destroying the spirit of Pokemon. It's absolutely sad how much this happens, and it's not just because of the communities. It's the actual Pokemon Company condoning this, by allowing cheaters, by ignoring criticism, that by just letting their employees run freely and do whatever they want, and just, even if it goes against the actual rules, the actual game. So, I mean, just rewrite the rules. I'm talking to the Pokemon Company now, because apparently, from what I've heard from people that are actually, like, involved with the Pokemon Company, they know what I'm up to. They watch my videos, or they have something going on to where they are aware of my interactions with the Pokemon Company. I'm talking to you guys now. Just throw out the rules, you know? Make it to where all the rules that I've been, you know, talking about and stuff, they don't matter. Cheating, just get rid of it. How about that? It'll be so easier on me, you know? I hate cheating with all my guts. Take that out of the rules, and then I can't say anything against it, you know? And then I don't have anything to fight for. It'll make my life a lot easier because then I won't have a stance. But now I still have people saying, oh, it's okay to cheat, even though in the rules it says no, and then they go and reward a cheater, so it doesn't really matter because the rules aren't being enforced. And I've even heard people saying, well, I get, like, there's actual people that I've talked to that, like, support cheating that say, like, yes, it's okay to kill someone if you don't get caught. Because that's effectively the same thing. You're allowed to break the law. You're allowed to break the rules as long as you don't get caught. And the Pokemon Company isn't pursuing anyone. So go wild, kids. Have fun with that. And same on the time stalling. It's in the rules. I cover the rule of time stalling that is disputed by Scott Glaza, who he lies and misrepresents the rules. If you're the Pokemon Company, just throw out all your rules. Let people run wild. Maybe just take it away to where, you know, you can't swear since there's little kids around, and you can't use drugs and alcohol because those are just basic rules in general. And then just let people go wild at the events. No littering because, you know, people that are litterers are kind of scummy anyways, and you don't want them around. That's it. You know, just have nothing, and then there's nothing to complain about. And then you can have the fun society that you guys want since you don't care, obviously. Now, what about me? Why am I saying all this? Why don't I go and start my own Pokemon, or why don't I make my own game and stuff? I would love to host Pokemon tournaments. Problem is, I've never gotten a response. I think I've sent 2 support queries to the Pokemon Company asking, hey, if I was to host a Pokemon tournament, will I get caught by you guys, you know? Because I feel like if I was to do something, I would get figured out pretty quick if I'm hosting like 100 and something person tournament with $1,000 prize pools and stuff. I think that would probably get shut down because the Pokemon Company probably wouldn't like that a lot. And if it was possible, I would love to do it. I would have to work out the management of it and whatnot, but I would put up my own money. You know, I would use the ad revenue off of like a Twitch stream, the views off of the YouTube videos from like the tournament highlights and stuff. I would take the actual entry fee. You know, I charge money for the entry fee, have a good prize pool and whatnot. I'd take some of my own earnings, put that towards it, because I want to support people making good money off Pokemon for being a skilled player. You know, I want to see that kind of involvement, but I feel like the Pokemon Company wouldn't like that, which could be a bit of a problem, and, you know, I just don't want to mess with that. And I never got a response saying I'm allowed to do it, so I'm too scared to do it. So yes, I'd love to do it, I just don't know how I could get away with doing it, especially with how large my channel is, and since Pokemon is already aware of what I'm up to. So that could be a bit of a problem right there, but yeah, there's just nothing we can do about it. Just play Pokemon for fun. Don't let anyone shit on your parade about trying to have fun in Pokemon. If you're bad, be bad and proud. You'll eventually get better. If you're good, don't shit on people that are worse than you. And then we'll all have a happy, fun Pokemon community outside of the official competitive one. And that's what the spirit of Pokemon's about. We need to keep that alive more than anything, guys. And I hope you guys made it this far to the video. Normally I say I hope you guys enjoy the video. There's nothing to enjoy here. If you enjoy my talking and you think it's good that I'm bringing this out, yeah, you can enjoy that. Don't enjoy the subject matter. That's terrible. Thank you very much for watching, especially if you've made it this far. That's all I've got to say. Nothing more here. As one of the most diehard Pokemon fans out there, it's super heartbreaking to see the VGC community get worse and worse. And I think that this post right here, as well as some of the other fallout from the Pokemon Company's decisions recently, is just kind of showing why the community is so terrible, and it sucks that the Pokemon Company is so split. You know, they're making good decisions, but at the same time, they're making really, really bad decisions, and then they're condoning this behavior, and really it's just splitting the community. We have the true Pokemon fans that want to play the game, but also take it to a serious level, and then we have the VGC Nugget Bridge community that just goes and ruins it. So, oh man, we are just not going to care anymore that the Pokemon Company is incompetent as hell, huh? 58 retweets, 114 likes. I don't really know who this guy is, but he has, you know, several hundred followers, and it gained some traction in the VGC community because you can kind of look at who retweeted this, and it's primarily VGC players, either VGC in the name, or they identify as a VGC player, something to do with this, and it gets actually really interesting as we see who gets in here. So this guy, top 8 Nugget Bridge Major, top 8 at Regionals, VGC, ready for VGC 2017, go keep track of championship points, some play Pokemon tournament organizers, and then just a lot of VGC players and people that take themselves seriously. Even a couple people that have qualified for Worlds and whatnot. I believe that post was like up here at some point. Yeah, qualified for Worlds 2009, 2015, 2016. So keep all this in mind as we read what this post is about. So, International, right after Sun and Moon is released. Players will have to finish story mode. Trading from ORAS to Sun and Moon is impossible until January. Power saves and PK Hex probably won't be ready for Sun and Moon in time. So it just shows how cheat happy the VGC community is, and they know that they get away with it. And you can just kind of see that there's been many players even being rewarded for cheating in the past. We have Ray Rizzo and his infamous hacked Aegislash that is absolutely impossible. Wolfe Glick, world champion, had a hacked Raichu, has access to cheated Pokemon, and so many other players. I mean, I have my video on the hacked Pokemon at Nationals that Ian, I don't follow all the VGC players and stuff, but this guy was hacking Pokemon with PK Hex at the event. You know, I feel so guilty for doing this in the middle of the convention center side event area. Cheating right there. Also, you can see, like, interactions between him and other people. You know, everyone, or not everyone, but a concerningly high amount of players in the VGC community are cheat happy. You know, they need their PK Hex, they need their power save. They just cannot tolerate breeding and playing by the rules at all, and it's really upsetting to see. Like, this guy, he hacked Pokemon, and then his brother, who ended up winning the Nationals, said that, yo, my brother made my team. And then we can see that there's a lot of things going on with people using illegal Pokemon, and then Ray Rizzo gets a commentary spot after having an absolutely illegal Pokemon that didn't get punished for. So it doesn't make any sense without the consistency of the Pokemon Company and their handling of this. But then, guys, it's so hard. It's so hard. You have to breed teams from scratch. The VGC community, they just can't do it anymore. They just can't breed teams from scratch. So let's cry and call the Pokemon Company incompetent because we can't play by the rules. Oh, it hurts. I mean, yeah, then you have to train your Pokemon to level 100 to use hyper training, but we don't need, like, from what I've seen from the hyper training, it looks like it's going to take as much time as breeding, or even slightly less, but then you can convert it into breeding either way, and then you have to EV train. I'm not gonna make it, guys. I've just been a couple minutes in EV train all by myself without PK Hex. How do you EV train without PK Hex? I totally forgot. You know, that's what the VGC community is doing. That there's like a small window of events that are going to be Sun and Moon only, but also will be before the Pokemon Bank. And this event is going to be 2 to 3 weeks after the game is released, so there's probably not going to be enough time for power saves and PK Hex to be ready. And that is causing this huge outcry, and people are like, oh, the Pokemon Company is incompetent. And it's not just like this post with 58 retweets and whatnot. You know, there's a lot of other people in the community that are mad. They're like, Pokemon Company has to push back this event. They have to make it to where we have more time to train for this. You know, PK Hex and power saves need to be allowed, or need to be ready by that time so we can have a shot at making a team and stuff. You know, you have around 2 weeks to do all of that. That literally isn't hard at all. Like, the VGC players, the community has gotten so bad and so cheat happy that people forget, no, every person that says, oh, I don't want to spend 100 hours to make a Pokemon team, that's literally not possible or not correct at all. Like, you can make a Pokemon team within a week, even from scratch, even like 2 weeks to beat the game and then make a team from scratch. Fair. That is doable. You know why? Because this is competitive Pokemon. And I think people have lost sight of that, because with how easy and accessible it has become to cheat, break the rules, which a lot of other players are disadvantaged. You know, it's kind of like an us versus them. That the top players, they know how to cheat. You know, you work yourself into that, you get in on the group, and then you have the multiple people that are like cheating teams for everyone, cloning, breaking the rules or something, because there's evidence of this. Wolfe Glick is giving away his Raichu, which was a clone. He had an illegal Pokemon. We had Ray Rizzo with an illegal Pokemon. There's chat rooms, there's chat logs of people talking about, you know, Pokesave and PK Hex and Power Save and Pokegenning and all these things, and how they just like get in groups and do this all for each other and stuff. Once you work your way on the inside, and once you actually like commit to breaking the rules and then being a part of the Nugget Bridge VGC mentality, that is only where you'll find success. And then the legitimate players, the people that are actually playing by the rules, playing for the spirit of Pokemon, they're getting completely screwed over. So it just makes it to where the VGC upper community just gets even stronger. And then you get hilarious statements like this that everyone's all on board for. Because for some reason, the Pokemon community is like the most cheat-happy, cheat-accepting community. It makes no sense. Like, a majority of the players break the rules, and they think it's okay. And, like, just some of the responses also start getting really funny, because we have Joe Merrick. Joe Merrick steps in. While most of these are valid points, surely power saves at PKX not working is a positive. And then, no, people will have to build teams in 3 weeks without perfect dittos. That's awful. But perfect dittos are illegal. Like, if it's a PK Hex power save ditto or whatever, if that ditto was cheated, then the offspring are cheated. I have that video about the Pokemon Company. You know, I sent a support ticket. They sent back saying you cannot breed hack parents because the offspring will be an illegal Pokemon. So, no, even if we had access to Pokebank and bring over our 6IV dittos and stuff, that's still cheated. That still makes an illegal Pokemon. And then, you know, the comment chain keeps going on. It's like, you don't get it. Sure, it's unfortunate. Sure, the timing's screwed and we have to work really hard to do it. But it's against the rules regardless. And that's just VGC community completely incapable of understanding that, you know, you have to play by the rules. And 2 weeks is a fair amount of time to beat the game. If you are a dedicated Pokemon player and you care about being a competitive Pokemon player, this is it. You know, the event takes place during final exams for a big amount of people. That's not an excuse to cheat. That's not an excuse to complain. If you want to be a top player, you have to put in the work. And it's not hard. I've put in the work. Even back when I was working 3 jobs, people are going to say, oh, well, you have YouTube as a job, so it doesn't matter. You just play Pokemon for a living, so you're allowed to do this. Back in the day, I worked 70 hours a week doing like overnight stock and flipping burgers and stuff. And I was still able to make Pokemon teams in a reasonable amount of time. I would find ways to make this work. I would play during every single moment of free time I have. Oh, but that means I'm giving up my social life. Well, that's competitive. Every competitive game, every competitive scene demands sacrifice. You look at League of Legends, Overwatch, CSGO, any competitive game, you're always scrimming, you're always practicing, you know, you're going up in like custom games to work on your CSing in League of Legends. You're always practicing like headshots and making sure you can get timings down and whatnot in any game. So you have to have the demand, you have to have the sacrifice, but the entitlement, how spoiled the VGC community has become. It's like, no, we don't do any of those things. We cheat our Pokemon and then we just win, and that's how we play. But that's not how any competitive scene works. So the fact that the Pokemon Company just kind of tolerates this is very unfortunate. And then there's like this guy right here. Now, I kind of mentioned him earlier. Pokemon tournament organizer going out and retweeting this post. This guy needs to lose his TO status. Like, what? What? No, this should not be allowed. If you're a representative Pokemon, you should not be tweeting something or condoning something that is in favor of power saving and PK Hex and cheating just because the community is for it as well. That's what I mean, going back into like all these other players and all these other Worlds people. If we go on to this, okay, this guy, he's like obviously being sarcastic, but then we have Justin Castro. This guy, 6th place at Worlds, and he's the one that's, you know, joking around with this guy, like, obviously, Justin Castro is making fun of the comment I've said, and Justin has actually said, like, negative things to me on Twitter before, so it's not a hard stretch to assume that, you know, he's making fun of what I said right here, you know, you spoiled cheating brat, you, even though he's laughing about it. So he's accepting that as well. Now, I don't have any proof that he is cheating, but any of this acceptance and tolerance of cheating does not belong anywhere in the competitive Pokemon scene. But that's what we have. All the top players. In one of my other videos, you know, I'm showing top 4 nationals qualifiers from EU. Their Twitter feeds are full of them using and talking about PK Hex. But the Pokemon Company doesn't do anything about it. So that's what it just kind of shows. It's like, it's that mentality that the people that feel like that people just get so discouraged. The average player that wants to go competitive, that has the ability to go competitive, just gets bullied out by the VGC community, and also just at a disadvantage from having to spend the time to actually breed teams, and then they lose out on practice time. They lose out on other team compositions and training and stuff, and then if you're not in with the, you know, the assholes over there in the VGC community, then you are going to be out of the meta just a bit. You're going to have a much harder time. And then we could see, like, on the post. So, recently, Pokemon Company discovered the secrets of the video game championships. The Pokemon Company doesn't even make sense with their posts anymore. You know, then we have statements like this. Before we go any further, we want to remind trainers that there's no right or wrong way to train your teams. You should always try to do your best using whatever strategies in Pokemon are most appealing to you as a trainer. Well, this is the website telling you this, but anyone in the VGC scene, anyone like the higher up VGC, will laugh at this. The VGC community is laughing at the own company making their own articles about this, and I'm not sure, like, don't quote me on this. not trying to get pegged for slander or anything. But I remember hearing, and I remember being told that, you know, Scott Glaza, he writes most of the VGC articles when it comes to Pokemon. He's a part of that upper end VGC where everyone's saying, no, you have to play what works. You know, you can't just run any stupid thing and expect to find success when it comes to Pokemon VGC. That, no, you need to play meta if you want to have the best chance to win. And we have articles from Pokemon Company directly contradicting that. So here's the Pokemon Company setting the rules of you can't cheat, and you should try to play what you want. But then that's just going to mean you fail. So if you follow the Pokemon Company's advice, you're just setting yourself up for failure by not cheating and then doing what you want, when the rest of the community is kind of against you on that. And then also, like, some previous articles in the past, and then some of the, like, the current articles and stuff is like, oh, you need to play standard, but you should also augment it with what you want to play. But at the same time, like, they have to put that disclaimer in, because if you just read through this without the disclaimer, it's saying, hey, play this, because that's the secret of the video game championships. And then on the Facebook post, we have stuff like this. You know, the reason I hate competitive Pokemon, on one side you have VGC, where people use the same Pokemon over and over again as icing on the terrible cake. There are people who timer stall, just waiting purely so time can run you out to get to the win. I mean, it's in the rules, and it has been the rules in the past, that timer stalling is frowned upon and it's deemed unsporting. But when you're in the higher up VGC, you can time stall and do that all you want. So someone that comes in expecting to be a sporting player, expecting to not cheat, expecting to, like, read Pokemon Company articles or at least play in a more relaxed manner, they're going to get destroyed by all the people that are rule breaking and doing all these other things that go against the advice of the Pokemon Company, and the Pokemon Company just kind of lets that happen. You know, there's other comments of people thinking these same things. I would like to actually feel happy about the Pokemon I all nickname and love dearly, not feel lame about myself because the high horse competitive people think that they're the real fans, and the non-competitive people shouldn't be allowed to play because because the non-competitive players don't use the Pokemon that they say is correct. And then we have the absolute tragedy that was this format. Okay, legendary Pokemon. Well, in a perfect world where everyone takes the time to soft reset and get proper legendary Pokemon, that's a fair fight. But then when everyone's cheating and PK hexing all the legendary Pokemon and all their teams and stuff, and cloning and whatnot, that's not fair, because that means the person that's going to spend hours on hours on hours getting their team set up, they're going to be very far behind in terms of practice and strategy and analysis as to all the other people that just cheated for each other. It's just like, whatever the foundations of Pokemon are so lost right now, the people, like, this is how it should be. You know, you look back at old competitive Pokemon, even though cheating was still a huge problem and stuff. I mean, you can go and look back at Cybertron's team, and he has, like, full shinies and legendaries and stuff. And even, like, RNG method and Pokegening has been ruled as against the rules, so they just weren't detected. And that's fine, but you can still get away with that. So cheating was still around at the time, but at the same time, you know, it feels like the players that are just, I'm a good player, I should go and enter an event. Those people are getting bullied out by the VGC scene, and the Pokemon Company isn't doing anything about it, and they're not changing or enforcing their rules at all, which just makes it worse. So if you guys enjoy the video, hope you all have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching. So this is coming off the back of my other VGC video, but holy crap, guys, I stumbled so far down the VGC rabbit hole, I have no idea where I am anymore. So remember Azazel VGC, we're going to be talking about him later, but pretty much this video was about VGC players crying that they can't use PK Hex and Power Saves. Power Saves PK Hex won't be ready for Sun and Moon in time for the International, and then everyone lost their mind. Remember, Azazel took part in this conversation, but it's unreal what happens. So we already have video proof of Wolfe Glick, the world champion of the Pokemon VGC, having used illegal Pokemon in the past, as well as giving away further illegal Pokemon by cloning his Raichu, which is against the rules. So here's his Raichu, and here's confirmation that's Raichu, you know, the team I used to win the 2016 VGC World Championships that he gave over here. So this is the Raichu that Wolfe Glick used at Worlds. Now, I didn't think about this because I've done a couple videos on this and you guys are probably tired of it, but it gets even crazier because when I saw this, I thought, oh, it probably doesn't have max IVs, might have speed IVs or something, and then same with the Rayquaza, oh, it's missing special attack. That sounds about right if you're using a physical Rayquaza, and then same for the Kyogre. Everything seemed to be in line, but this is where it gets sketchy. All of these Pokemon that he used at Worlds have 6 IVs. Now this seems like extra sketchy that, you know, I'm going to make it look like a 5 IV Pokemon, that way it doesn't look as bad, you know, doesn't look as likely to be hacked. And all of the Pokemon that he did not obtain himself, because we have these other ones, you know, this one was bred by Wolfe, this one was bred by Wolfe, and this one was bred by Wolfe. Also, if you look at battles, he does have like a couple hundred eggs under his belt, so he probably did breed these Pokemon for himself. However, the event Pokemon, the legendaries, were not obtained by him and are incredibly likely to be hacked, which means that he used illegal team at Worlds. Now, this is all speculation, but there is incredible amounts of evidence right here. So we go and hop into Pokemon Showdown, and the stats are the same for these Pokemon. So I did a mock-up to get the same thing. Like, his Raichu has a crazy spread, but as he even says in the video, you know, he wanted to make sure the Raichu could tank up physical hits, defensive hits. It's an absolute monster, and this is the kind of set that it had to run in, that it has to have for it to be 31 IVs, and this matches Wolfe Glick's Raichu. So it has 31 IVs in every stat as an event Raichu. So that's what makes this Raichu so special. If I can go and find it again. This is a PGL Raichu that has Endeavor. Now, this was obtainable through the event, and there is no way to get any guaranteed IVs on this Raichu. That if it's not a legendary Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, it's not going to have 3 IVs. So that means rolling for the Rayquaza means you need to get 6 IVs, which only technically takes 3 more IVs, which is still very difficult. That's 3 to the power of 3, and also getting the correct nature. Very, very unlikely. Now, the Kyogre is also an incredibly special Kyogre because it has 0 IVs in attack. This is a very precise Kyogre. The reason why you run 0 attack IVs is because you want to take the least damage possible from foul play, which might be on Amoonguss, or if someone's like trolling with swagger and confusion and stuff, you take less damage when you hit yourself in confusion. So this is like the most pristine competitive Kyogre you can find, but it has 6 IVs. So as I went and ran the damage and stuff, like, okay, it's weird sets, but that doesn't mean that the Pokemon isn't not hacked, because there would have to be EVs remaining. If there were EVs remaining, that would show that there were some IVs missing, therefore it's a kind of flawed Pokemon, therefore less likely to be hacked. But this, for all intents and purposes, is a 6 IV perfect Kyogre, because rolling a 0, rolling a 31, still incredibly unlikely, especially because you get 3 guaranteed IVs. So that means one of your guaranteed IVs can't be attack, and you have to still get the odds, and then you have to get the correct nature. Very unlikely to do once, let alone twice, let alone 3 times from Italy that your game doesn't belong to. So Wolfe Glick and his Raichu goes back in a long way and is already looking very questionable. But guys, I said the rabbit hole goes deep. So we're going to go and talk about some other people. So we have Escuro VGC right here, and he pops up quite a lot because retweet to enter the draw for this Raichu evolved from the Pikachu gift Endeavor as exclusive move. A 6 IV PGL Raichu. Now, this probably doesn't seem like a lot, except on his profile, you can see it right there. Oh, I blocked him because, yeah, he's a cheating hacker. Top 1 España in PK Hex, or whatever. So we go and translate that, you know, top 1 of Spain in PK Hex. And he's also part of the VGC community while being an avid user of PK Hex. Now, this doesn't seem like a lot until you go back here. Escuro. So he has all kinds of PK Hex madness. He has a Dream Ball, obviously making fun of me for calling out Wolfe Glick's Dream Ball Raichu. Shiny, Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, Pentagon. Yeah, this thing is hacked in pretty much every single way possible. It's shiny locked when you go into the Groudon, also showing a different region as well. It's all over the place, and it's even level 1. So it shows he has the power to make cheated Pokemon, and he has in the past, and it all just kind of keeps wrapping together and stuff. So this goes even further when I find Euler VGC. So Euler VGC, like I said, it's a rabbit hole, guys. He engaged with me after I called out Azazel VGC for having cheated Pokemon because he did a vlog about his world's placement that is incredibly fishy. Because look at this, changed for day 2 but not used on purpose. So he has a 0 attack, 31 speed IV Kyogre that he claims, in his own words, received from a friend. So I need to find that. Okay, I have 2 cards, dozen of friends, and have minimum speed Kyogre and a life. With a full-time job, my friends get my stuff. So he's claiming that his friends make his team, and so readily that he can change it within days, even though it's a 0 attack Kyogre. And then he accidentally brought a 31 speed IV Kyogre given to him by someone else, which actually kind of screwed him over. So he's talking about this in day 1 I checked out my Kyogre in Panic. It was not minimum speed Kyogre. So then his asterisks here say change for day 2, but not used on purpose. So he accidentally brought the wrong hacked Kyogre and then had to switch it out for a 0 speed Kyogre, which is legal. You can actually have different Pokemon from day 1 of Worlds to day 2, but then day 3 stays the same. So being able to get a 6 IV legendary Pokemon swapped out within less than a day is incredibly suspicious. Also, if you look at the rest of his team, 0 attack, 0 speed IV. So perfect Amoonguss, perfect Xerneas, and all of these other things. And I think the best thing, this is why you don't breed legendaries the day before a tournament. He's talking about it like breeding. That's weird, and that shows that no, you can't breed legendaries. It's soft resetting, and if you knew that, the difference, you know, that's something that you bring up, which is why it's a little extra fishy that this tweet right here talking about helping me breed my super tech. So it seems like, quote-unquote, breeding legendaries is just the slang in VGC, and top tier VGC, for manipulating PK Hex, Power Save, whatever it is for legendaries that you use for VGC, again, going back to Escuro here, and all kinds of other things. Also, I found this, like, I did all kinds of research. I have dug so freaking deep. Like, I even found okay, this is eBay. This is Italian eBay with a 6 IV Pikachu. So pretty much, this is the same Pikachu that Wolfe Glick used. Not the same exact, you know, this one is a female instead of male, but showing that this is something that has been PK Hex. This is a gen modified Pokemon in some way, and I believe that's £2, so like a $3 Pikachu or something. And if you spent enough time to legitimately get this through soft resets, that's 31 to the power of 6 to the power of 24, or not to the power, times 24, because you also have to roll the correct nature. So the odds of getting this are impossible, which means if it was completely legitimate, you wouldn't be giving it away in bulk, you know, for left, for under $4. That means that this is absolutely cheated, and you can find tons of listings on eBay for all kinds of cheated Pokemon. The Kyogre is also something interesting, because I've noticed that a lot of people that like use PK Hex or have hacked legendary Pokemon, the original trainer is May. Well, the original trainer on Wolfe Glick's Kyogre is, wait for it if the video actually decides to load now that I'm trying to do it, MYA, an anagram for May. And again, Italian website for the Pikachu. It seems like we've come full circle, guys, that there is an insane PK Hex community for VGC, and people are complaining non-stop about it. Oh yeah, back to Euler, by the way. He's talking about, you know, the only advantage he possibly has was not wasting any brain cells on resetting breeding like you apparently did. So mocking, this is a VGC player. He has VGC in the title that has engaged with Azazel, that has engaged with all these other people, that is mocking me for doing it legitimately, showing that, you know, hey, in upper tier VGC, we have better things to do with our lives than play legitimately, therefore it's all about cheating. Keeps going deeper. We have Marcus here, who I believe got 3rd place at Worlds, who has been collabing with Wolfey, and again, making fun of my video about Wolfey's cheated Raichu by having a team called Team Dreamball with their MBL, so a new Pokemon League that has come up. There's like all kinds of teams with pro players and stuff, so as we can see right here, you know, Team Views, Duncan Edie, Podium Scrafty, seems like they're making fun of me for saying, you know, I get more monthly views than them. But like, so, some plays right here, but Wolfe Glick and Marcus are buddies, and they even ran pretty much the same exact team. So we have Raichu, Hitmontop, Bronzong, and a Kyogre. And when we see that, you know, we have Raichu, Hitmontop. Yeah, they ran the same team, you know, when you think about it, which means the odds of having another 6 IV Raichu get impossibly small, because again, 31 to the power of 6 times 24, it's like 23 trillion or something. But there's 2 of them floating around, and then also a 6 IV Kyogre yet again. So that's another 6 IV Kyogre that also shows after Zazel used one, he, I believe, got 6th or something. But it gets crazier. Justin, this is a Zazel. He has a Dive Ball Kyogre that has, you know, 0 IVs in attack, 0 IVs in speed because he's running Trick Room. And then what is Wolfey's Kyogre? Dive Ball. Once again, I have the animations up because we can see Wolfey's is, I was watching Etho plays Minecraft. We have Wolfey's being a Dive Ball, so we have the animation of Wolfey's right here showing what a dive ball looks like. You got little bubbles coming off and then blue rays of stuff. This is blue rays of stuff in little bubbles. So we get to see the dive ball Kyogre. Now, interestingly enough, dive ball does not give you a bonus when you catch Kyogre in Omega Ruby or Alpha Sapphire. Dive balls only get the bonus when you are currently diving, and that's not when you encounter Kyogre. And I've seen other posts saying that dive balls are only effective on Battleground when the Pokemon is beneath his water, such as surfing or fishing, or underwater, which doesn't work for Kyogre. So I've seen a lot of people that say that this is impossible for it to get beneficial odds. So that means you're effectively using a Pokeball to capture Kyogre enough times that it has 6 IVs to get this as a 100% legitimate Kyogre twice, because we've seen 2 people with this, and probably many more people using a dive ball Kyogre, because when you start getting to PK Hex community, bank balls become everything. You know, that's why Wolfe Glick had a Dream Ball Raichu. It looks pretty even though it was illegal. So, you know, now that they're PK Hexing anyways, you might as well get a flashy ball, because, you know, the dive ball looks coolest on Kyogre. And then back to Azazel, you know, he's kind of talked trash about it before. I laugh because I'm 6th in the world, your joke on Twitter. I have 2 cards, dozen of friends. Oh yeah, back to the cards and stuff. If we go and scroll through this, 0 eggs hatched on Azazel. Okay, he also has 0 evaluations by judge, so let's see if we can get that pegged down. Now, it seems like you would use the judge. The judge is the guy that tells you about IVs, also 0 BP earned. So the judge is the guy that tells you about IVs, you know, that if you have X IVs in Pokemon, he's the guy that says, oh, this Pokemon has outstanding potential overall and its X stat couldn't be any higher or anything. But which is really weird because in his post, he screwed up the IVs of his Kyogre on day 1. So that means he should have used the judge at some point, but he never did because he's receiving cheated Pokemon. And let's see, and then like also he has like no eggs hatched, no evaluation by judge, 0 BP. It's a very concerning looking thing. Now this is where we do see that Wolfe Glick has hatched Pokemon before, so like half of his team looks good, but even having 1 cheated Pokemon is still against the rules when it comes to Pokemon. And I think that's everything. Yeah, so he talks about like having a separate card. That doesn't make sense. Why would you use the card that makes it look more incriminating unless your other card is where you're using your PK Hex and you're like banned from the battle spot, or you don't have, you know, why not use that card unless it's tainted in some way? And he even admits he has a life. And that's the everything that VGC players say goes back to having a life. I have a life, therefore I can't spend all the time breeding and soft resetting, which is why I brought up this article, because this is a guy that actually emailed Pokemon saying, hey, make an official Pokegen application for VGC. So this is about when Verlisify started accusing Wolfe Glick. So because of that, this guy's like, oh, let's just get rid of this problem and make it to where Pokegen is actually a part of the Pokemon game. I only have time to play story and competitive battles. I don't want to spend my time breeding and training to build a team on DS. That is everyone in the VGC community, and those are the people that admit to cheating. Now, we don't see it from the higher up players, but this is him right here saying the same thing, having the same mindset, having friends that are making fun of other people for playing legitimately. It all comes full circle, guys. Everyone in the higher up VGC community is connected in some way. We have the PK Hexer that might distribute to almost everyone that has very similar Pokemon. He has the 6 IV Pikachu Hex. What's to say he didn't give that to Wolfe Glick and the other guy? And what's up with all this other stuff? And also, you know, you might want to go to a doctor. You're Murphy's Law of VGC right now. The only way to go is up, because I have a cordial discussion about why I might have cerebral damage. So anyways, saying I have brain damage. Low-key calling me retarded right there. Awesome from these 6, this is Pokemon, guys. Remember, we're talking about Pokemon. 6th place Pokemon Worlds guy, you know, talking trash like that, totally deserves to be in Pokemon, right? And then all these other cheated Pokemon accusations. I mean, you can just read the post about this for himself. It's an absolute joke. Okay, changing the IVs in a day of a legendary Pokemon that's already 6 IVs, which are incredibly low odds. And then talking about breeding legendaries and having a perfect team as well. It's all cheated, guys. Oh yeah, the Gravity Bronzong. 7 IV shiny Bronzong, intentionally 7 IVs in speed because he wanted to speed creep over other Bronzongs, but still be slow enough for the Trick Room to be effective. There we go, guys. Everything you need to know about all the people that look to be cheating in Pokemon. And remember, guys, this whole video still isn't everything. Back in my, Nationals video where we looked at this guy right here, Ian M. He is a top-tier VGC player. He was on the main stage for stream for Pokemon Nationals, and by the way, he was talking about using PK Hex at the event. So, There's that as well. And then he gave Pokemon to his brother who ended up winning nationals. So it seems like there's just cheating everywhere. It's just depressing at this point. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you all have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching.
Congratulations on winning that last match. Our casters were screaming too. There were points where they were just kind of full of excitement. If you had to guess, what would you say were some of the moments that the casters started screaming?
Definitely when I timer stalled her at the end.
Sportsmanship. Winning or losing with grace is vital to the enjoyment of the game. The desire to continue playing a game can be soured by players who berate their opponents after winning or losing a match. Likewise, a player who plays the clock rather than the game shows poor sportsmanship and should be discouraged from doing so whenever possible.
Fantastically played by Michael, he timed it perfectly.
And should be discouraged from doing so whenever possible.
Fantastically played.
Miracle versus Trista's Groudon and Slowbro. Trista playing exceptionally well, out of her mind.
Oh my
Slowbro
god!
sets up a trick room and... What?
Safeguard returns, gravity returns.
Heal Pulse.
Oh my gosh, and that's it.
Michael has 0 offensive pressure out on his side. And Trista Medine clawing her way back.
It's not over yet.
It isn't, but there's just such little offensive pressure. Of course, timer is a fact
And
now.
that's the reason why I say that's not over yet, solely because if Smeargle gets some ridiculous Dark Void shenanigans right now, Michael can still win off the win condition that he has more HP in the 2 of his Pokemon. Slowbro is heavily damaged, and as a result,
So, that's interesting right there. Like, I showed the whole clip because it tells the entire story. Trista made a ridiculous play, and everyone was losing their mind, and then at the end of all that, there's the realization, well, timer comes into play, and since the opponent, Michael, has a healthier team, he can just play the clock and win. That doesn't sound like discouraging from doing so whenever possible. I mean, the commentators even considered a win condition. What has happened to the spirit of Pokemon? Because, like, these are the official rules right here. This is the general tournament rules of Pokemon. Number 1, spirit of the game, fun, fairness, honesty, respect, sportsmanship, and learning. These don't sound like bad rules. These don't sound like things that people need to avoid or forsake and get rid of. These are the rules of Pokemon. Sportsmanship is right there. And here we have, like, the Pokemon officials just kind of making light of that. Like, no, this guy isn't being unsporting at all, and we shouldn't be discouraging it. Like, there's the craziest trend that's just developed over the last year or two in the VGC community of how, like, yeah, that's a win condition. You know, you play the clock, you're supposed to do that because that's a win condition. Completely legitimate, even though the actual rules of Pokemon state the complete opposite. And then we have it right here. Now, this is super heartbreaking to watch because, you know, the commentators talk about, yep, just playing for the timer right now. What are the options? Not really too many. And then just stuff right there. So playing the whole timer, and then it gets like super sad right here. Like, you can see her face. You can just like watch as the timer goes through that it's more and more frustrating. You know, it's just like, come on, timer, wake up. Groudon's asleep right now. All Groudon has to do is wake up, pop one of the opponents, and that's going to be game right there, and GG. Like, Michael, his only chance at winning this game was from timer stalling from almost midway through the match. That's absolutely premium content right there. If I was the Pokemon company, I want this representing me more than anything. So yeah, Slowbro wakes up. She thought that it said Groudon woke up, but no, the Slowbro Ice Beam doesn't really matter too much. And then right here, you know, Bronzong gets a Gyro Ball. It's not going to be enough to knock out the Slowbro. It's all on Groudon. All Groudon has to do is wake up, hit the Bronzong. Groudon's asleep. She knows it's over. And the dumbest thing about the Pokemon and how it works is that if the battle time is less than the turn time, game just ends. So, turn ends, 45 seconds, but it doesn't matter. All he has to do is use 20 seconds of his battle time, of his command time, game ends, turn doesn't resolve, GG, and yeah, that's the most unsporting thing that you could imagine, and it's already happening at Pokemon Worlds. This was day 1. And it's already happening in day 2 as well right here. I'm going to show that, but I mean, this is even like crazier when you look at how everything breaks down. You have to have a 6-2 record to go to day 2 for Worlds. So this was day 1. Loser drops, winner goes to day 2, and then his face. I mean, his face is just, I don't even know what to say about it. Like, he just kind of reflects on it, has that smirk, kind of laughs it off, from an Unsporting play. She's like at the verge of tears right now from just what happened, and I don't believe it. That was allowed, guys. That was allowed, and that's why it's like, if you're trying to make your competitive scene, if you're trying to make it look legitimate, that is not how you do it. And then day 2, this is even worse. All right, 11 minutes in, we get the double KO right here. You know, there's all kinds of finish. If you land the Scald on the ground it's not surviving that. We got the wind on, we got the Delta Stream keeping it alive. So he only has 2 Pokemon left. It's a 4v4 format, got wiped in 1 turn. What's he going to do? Believe it or not, he's going to sit there and use the entire timer to select his only 2 remaining Pokemon. And you can guys see the frustration grow on her face as well. And the 2 Pokemon he brings in are going to be Smeargle and Xerneas. Like, I want to try to skip around, but I don't know, because like getting this time correctly, just like scrubbing through the video. So yeah, takes a full timer right there. Smeargle, and then Xerneas comes in. So she has 3 Pokemon remaining. Take out 1 Pokemon, fairly even. Smeargle can get a Dark Void, something like that. Take out 2 Pokemon, go for the stall. You can secure your victory. So I mean, that proves timer stalling right there. That he only had 2 Pokemon to choose, takes full timer. This is the next turn, full timer as well. Yep, because why not? Why not? And then after that, you know, Smeargle has the fake out, so it's able to shut down the Rayquaza. Xerneas is able to start getting some momentum on the Suicune. And then after a couple of turns, he goes and turns it around, and now Rayquaza about to get KO'd by the Xerneas. Aegislash is the only Pokemon left, and went for the timer stall just to make sure the game would be secured. And it was like, that's like some of the most egregious timer stalling I've ever seen. 11 minutes in, gets a double KO, decides just in case something goes wrong, might as well eat up your opponent's time, might as well try to tilt them or something. Yeah, guys, total sportsmanship. Totally awesome. Like, how is, I keep saying the same thing, I keep repeating myself, but it's so appalling that I don't even know what else to say. This is not how you have a serious competitive game at all. You don't have casters, you don't have officials that are trying to promote this as legitimate play when the very rules of the game say no. That I feel like it's some kind of crazy conspiracy theory. That we have like Nugget Bridge and VGC higher up players determining what they think should happen to the official competitive scene and then transforming it right there. I mean, we've seen that players like Wolfe Glick have used cheated Pokemon. Ray Rizzo has used a cheated Pokemon in the games, and that's completely fine. So it's like, as long as you're on the inside, as long as you're in that group of people that are in the higher ups, the rules don't apply to you. And I don't understand, or you can shape the rules as you want, because last year, after I was dropped out, or after I was given a loss by Scott Glaza at a tournament he wasn't anything a part of. Like, pretty much, I can link the video in the description if you haven't seen it by now. Scott Glaza, Pokemon Company employee, rewrote the rules of a tournament to give me a loss because of some personal thing he has against me. As a Pokemon company official, it doesn't make any sense. And he's also like he's also pretty big on the Nugget Bridge. So it feels like the higher up people, they have the in on Pokemon. So they're not allowed to get caught for cheating. They can do whatever they want. And then they can even rewrite the rules, because right after having this fallout with Scott Glaza, the rules were rewritten to have it to where timer stalling did not apply to VGC, even though when I was making the fuss about it, it did. So it seems like whatever the players feel should happen to the game, it's getting changed, even though it goes against sportsmanship. It goes against the competitive integrity of the game. That this should not be allowed in any game. That this is not approved or applauded in any other game that exists effectively. That there's some rules against it, and certain specific rules will just get you dropped. Because we can see right here that these were the rules: making legal plays which have no effect on the game in progress to manipulate the time remaining in a match, playing slowly to manipulate the time remaining in a match. Game loss. Not even a warning. Straight up game loss. You know why? That's a major unsporting conduct. So 7-6, unsporting conduct, major time stalling. I don't understand. Back in 2012, back in 2013, this applied directly to the VGC. It was in the VGC handbook. It was like players that play the clock, players that are making unimpactful moves toward the game. Even in VGC, it was deemed as timer stalling. But as you can see here, the commentators, these higher up VGCs, because Aaron Cybertron Zhang is on this, we also have other players, as timer stall happens, they just kind of see it as a legitimate win condition. When Scott Glaza gave me, forced the loss upon me at the tournament, he was saying, it's her win condition. It's a legitimate win condition to be unsporting. And I completely don't understand that at all. Now, also, it's one thing that's really interesting is I'm so against unsporting conduct that even when it comes to Trista here, she's made like unflattering remarks against me in the past, but I still feel I know the difference between right and wrong right here. That I'm going to stick against Unsporting play, and yeah, I don't understand how this keeps happening. Like Pokemon Company, when it comes to cheating, all this hacking, all this unsporting play, all these rules manipulations, allowing people like Ray Rizzo to be a commentator after being caught with a cheated Pokemon. Same with like the amount of praise and amount of acceptance and momentum that Wolfe Glick has while using cheated Pokemon and condoning cheating to his fans.
Who's out here cheering you on?
My friend Colin, Wolfe, Blake. There's a whole bunch of them out there.
Like he said in his video, you can use hacked parents to breed, like you can breed hacked parents and then get a legitimate Pokemon. The Pokemon Company says no. So it's like there's some kind of split here, and somehow the players have more power than the company, and the company chooses to remain silent instead of trying to fix the issue. But first you have to acknowledge there's an issue. They just brush it under the rug, hope it's okay, and that's absolutely sad. It's really sad to see because Pokemon Company's trying to turn it around. The 2017 prize format looks great. It seems like they're trying to slowly guide in a good direction, but no one wants to watch this. No one wants to enjoy your competitive sport or esport if they think it's going to be this. You know, making other players feel tilted, making other people feel bad, you know, enjoyment of the game. You know, you don't want to sour your opponent's experience. That's exactly what's happening right here. And the people watching, this is not good for spectators. This is not good for any kind of competitive health or spirit of the game. I don't understand how it keeps going on. So if you guys enjoy the video, hope you all have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching.
And video game players competed so hard and with grace and sportsmanship.
Right, because there was so much sportsmanship at Worlds this year. I mean, between the deck stacking, the time stalling, and also a finalist giving the middle finger as he took the victory. This was just one of the greatest, most sporting years of Worlds I have seen yet. But yeah, this one blows my mind when we see out of Jonathan Evans. Wow. That actually happened on stream in front of tens of thousands of people and little kids in the audience. Jonathan Evans, he eventually makes it to the finals and then throws out the middle finger for everyone to see, and no one caught it. He's given the "aw shucks" kind of smile to the crowd. The judge is looking down at the game, make sure nothing fishy is happening in the game, I guess. And then he goes and displays his middle finger to everyone for no reason. Like, I don't understand why when you just punch the critical hit into the Xerneas, you just go and, yep, that's it. There we go. That's what you deserve. That I don't understand. Is it just me? Or was this year, or was like the magic in Pokemon just not there when it comes to competitive scene? Now, don't get me wrong. I love Pokemon more than anything, which is why I make these videos. If you enjoy something and you love something, you have to be able to criticize it. You can't be like, everything's perfect and fine and this is just absolutely wonderful. No, the most powerful dedication and the most powerful passion comes in finding flaws where there is, I believe, very legitimate flaws. I mean, you can look at the comments on this video all day, and there is an overwhelming amount of people that are just saying that it looks sketchy. There's people that have cheated in the past and admitted to it that say that this is like a very similar technique that they have done. I mean, all you have to do is look at it. It's just false shuffle after false shuffle. It really goes without explanation right there. But also then the timer stalling, you know, that's the face of someone that is playing with against someone with extreme sportsmanship. As absolutely wonderful right there. And I don't even know, that goes without words. But is it just me, or has it been different? I don't even know what to say, guys. It's been a very surreal experience watching all of this unfold. And like, I love Pokemon. I'm loving Pokemon Sun and Moon. Everything else that the Pokemon Company is doing has been going pretty well, but it just feels like when it comes to the competitive scene, something is not correct. And before people start making comments like, aren't you so sensitive that he gives the middle finger and you have to make a video attacking him over this? That it's, why are you feeling so soft, you little whiny crybaby? I don't know. Well, first off, you know, tens of thousands of people, families watching this live, little kids right there. Now, this is not the behavior that you expect to have someone playing Pokemon. Now, maybe in a scene like League of Legends or CSGO, a more mature audience or a more mature game. Oh, wait, never mind. High did the same thing. You know, this guy right here was talking some smack, saying, yeah, Cloud9, they don't have a good chance at winning, and High's up there. He hears them talking, throws out the middle finger. I mean, it's not even as clear. You can tell there's the middle finger gesture going up. He just kind of threw that out at Worlds in front of tons of people, but he was slapped with a $500 fine or €500 fine. And it's a more mature game, that the audience is more mature, that definitely the banter and smack talk that they have is on that next level. It's a teen-rated game. Pokemon's for kids! There's little kids at this event participating. There's little kids in the audience watching this. So I'm not being sensitive, I'm being reasonable that this probably shouldn't be allowed and shouldn't be something that's just like tolerated as it is. Like, there's absolutely no reasoning for this. But then you just gotta look at it. It's like everyone in the higher ups, it feels like they just get away with it, whatever they want. The casters condoning unsporting behavior. One of the casters having been proven with a cheated illegal Pokemon at a major event. And the more I don't go into Wolfey, the better. That explains itself with the videos I've done on him. But overall, it's like there's something wrong. There's like some kind of Illuminati tinfoil conspiracy going on when it comes to Pokemon Worlds, and I don't even know where else to go from it. You can judge it for yourself. But also, this made me think. When I saw this, I was like, all right, so do the VGC players like have any rules to deal with? Because remember, these are the 2016 rules and stuff, and at the bottom it says something like removed VGC, updated document to remove VG examples and rulings. But I mean, where is the line drawn? Because this is under sportsmanship right here, that giving the middle finger, that's an offensive gesture, that's a very unsporting behavior, unsporting conduct. That would probably be major to severe. It depends, like use of slurs or insults. I think that counts as like an insult or some kind of gesture like that. Use of profanity or physical threats to event staff. Well, that wasn't a threat to the staff, but at the very least, that is a major unsporting offense. But then, like, okay, where do we draw the line? When is, like, player behavior and in-game behavior separated? Because what I did was I found the 2015 rules. So I've had these saved on my hard drive for quite some time, just because I've pulled them up before. But in 2015 rules, you know, there's nothing about VG. Like, I can hit Control F, I can look for VGC, and there's nothing there. Like, I already have it typed in VGC. Video game, like, I don't even think video game has anything. So, it's not there, but at the same time, like, the unsporting conduct probably belongs to be in this, especially if it's a penalty guideline. It's not like VGC players are completely removed from this, that this should still apply to them. And again, like, I don't understand why it says removed VG examples when there were no VG examples to begin with. Like, it feels like there's just some kind of crazy conspiracy thing. As more higher up players, and even the casters, you know, this is Aaron Zhang and Ray Rizzo. These were major level competitors last year or years ago before they started going over to the casting side of things. And it's all of their friends, you know, they cheer on for Wolfey, they cheer on for all these other people, and they are okay with the time stalling because they consider a win condition, and they have done this for many years now. But once you get into the rules say otherwise. Like, this doesn't make any kind of distinction right here. This doesn't say TCG only, this doesn't say VGC only. This is under major, which I would imagine applies to everyone. That's, yeah, and then even in, like I already showed in my last video, it's under the spirit of the game. That, like, I think something about the beginning of the rule set, it talks about, like, the reason why this exists. The reason why this exists is all about, yeah, Pokemon organized play protocols and procedures are intended to foster the spirit of friendly competition. So the whole, like, spirit of the game thing exists. That's why this is here, because you don't want to even break Rule 1 of Pokemon, which is in the general event guidelines, which isn't specific to TCG or VGC. So, like, I don't understand how these guys get away with it. I really don't know what's happening in competitive Pokemon. It's like, is the Pokemon company scared? Is there just too much influence from, like, the Nugget Bridge and VGC people? This is what I mean, which it just feels like the magic was gone, because I had World's aspirations back in the day. I consider myself a very strong battler. I actually beat the person that won the first VG Showdown Worlds. I ended up battling him online, and I actually took a victory off of him, which was pretty cool back in the day. But at the same time, it's like, I didn't have the money, I couldn't make it out to events, I had life and other things to worry about. So, like, after that, you know, I saw the scene getting worse and worse, so then my passion died down, I peaked, I went into, like, working 70 hours a week and other things like that. And then when I look back into the scene a little deeper, it's it's almost corrupt. It's almost strange. And like the Pokemon Company, you know, it's a kid's game, so they have to make it look like the best. And that's why I feel like every PR move is like cover up everything, but they never admit anything. At least with like Riot and something like that, there's a statement that comes out under the cover, or at least, you know, it's not like they broadcast it to every outlet and something, but the statement is known whenever there's a punishment or something. I mean, it even feels like Pokemon covered up when those people that won Nationals started literally throwing their crap into like the hotel. Like someone in the, was it Spain or UK? Someone in the Europe Nationals, you know, they ended up winning, and they decided that the best way to celebrate the victory was to defecate on everything and then have that stripped away. But there was like no really official thing. It was eventually a news thing, and you end up finding out about it through the inside. So there's a lot of really bad stuff that happens when it comes to competitive Pokemon, but it seems to be ignored for who knows what reason, and all these changes are done silently and not even enforced to begin with. Okay, unsporting play wasn't enforced to begin with, so you change it just to make sure it's not even in the rules anymore. I do not understand, guys. Well, that's what we're dealing with right here, guys. And I guess the best way to end this video is to just talk about the question I know I'm going to see the most. It's like, well, why don't you just enter Worlds then? You just suck so bad, and you're not allowed to talk about this because you don't even participate. Why don't I see you at Worlds? Well, I've said this before in a lot of videos, but it's not worth it for me to go for the Worlds grind in any way. That really all it'll do is give me popularity and praise if I win. I think it's like, it's no guarantee to win no matter how well you do. Everyone at Worlds was there to win it. Everyone that was participating. So people like at good nationals or regionals placements, you know, they want to win Worlds. That's everyone's dream. But they didn't win. That doesn't make them bad. Like, and no matter what, I'm going to lose. Like, I don't mean like lose Worlds, but it's like a lose-lose situation that if I dump in all the time, all the energy, all the effort, all the money, that I'm losing on my business. Because like it's just way better for me to stay here and make videos and run the business, because YouTube is my business. I mean, the year's been so crazy. I bought a house this year. I've moved like 3 times in the last 2 years. I've been bouncing around stuff. And then I've also been working on YouTube, and making VGC videos gets me less views than if I was doing other videos. So I would hurt my channel for a chance to make less money and to make like less support and stuff like that. Like it's not worth it for me to do that. And it also doesn't mean I'm not qualified to do this at all. I've been a part of the Pokemon community for a very long time. I understand the scene just about as well as anyone. I understand the rules and everything as well. So it's more like a journalistic approach from my standpoint. Now, there's a lot of people, there's a lot of famous esports journalists. I think the first person that comes to mind is Duncan Thorne Shields. You know, he's not a top tier player. Even Monte Cristo, even other casters. Like, I think Monte Cristo is maybe a gold level player. He's talked about it before, but he casts and he has the game knowledge of any master challenger level player or pro player. Same with Thorne, you know, he can talk about these games without being an expert player at CSGO or anything like that. And that's just how commentating works. Like, as long as you have the facts to back it up, which I do, it doesn't really change what's going on in the community. That you don't have to be a world class proven player to be able to talk on a world class level in pretty much anything. That's literally how it works. So I'd rather not try to fight the system, go with all this BS. I make legitimate teams. I'm not going to accept a clone Pokemon or take gen Pokemon or whatever those people are doing, since we know there's fishy Pokemon that I've exposed in the past. So the effort does not pay off at all. I don't want to have to go to premier events and regionals and then fly to another regionals to maybe get enough points to go to Worlds to maybe not even win. I mean, it's not like the guy that got 2nd or 3rd or 4th, or even the guy that got 32nd at Worlds this year. Anyone that qualified to Worlds is a bad player because they didn't win. But if I don't get 1st, I'd be like the worst player ever or something. So it doesn't matter. You can't please everyone. And that's another like thing. I was going to say like at the video, oh, yo, what are you guys' thoughts? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree? But going on like the comments I've seen from the sportsmanship video, the cheating video, and everything like that, like I know a lot of people agree with me. They're just like, Pokemon just isn't the same. All of my friends and stuff. So really, it's just like the 2 factions and whatnot. Unfortunately, competitive Pokemon, it's not in a good place. And I guess I'm going to end the video there. So if you guys enjoyed the video, hope you all have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching. So I was going to take this video in a much different direction, because remember guys, Jonathan Evans is the epitome of sportsmanship in Pokemon, giving the middle finger to 30,000 people in the audience watching Twitch live. Well, I wanted to go and show you guys that moment, but you might notice something really interesting, as suddenly 20 seconds of the original VGC vlog have vanished. Because the Pokemon Company has apparently deemed this unfit for the playback, but also that Jonathan Evans is still a completely sporting player, not worthy of punishment. That he got a warning for in any other esport, this action right here would get you immediately disqualified from the tournament, if not a temporary ban. There are no second chances when you give the middle finger to the audience to the degree that the company has to remove that clip of the video. Like, this just blew my mind. I had the video set up, I was going to play the clip, and Pokemon actually removed that. I don't believe that right now. And then the fact that this was about, you know, the lack of sportsmanship, because the reason why we're going to bring this guy back into the spotlight is because he did a team breakdown slash his whole talk about Worlds. It is one of the most insanely long, pretentious things I have ever read. Look how long this goes. Every second of his entire Worlds run was documented, and it is done in the most unsporting way, most demeaning way to his opponents possible, and it also shows that he very likely cheated, just like all the other VGC contenders. If you don't believe me, there's so many videos I will link in the description below showing all the people that are intertwined and how many cheaters there are in VGC, because, you know, you don't talk, like, if you're a legitimate player, you don't talk about getting an exact 0 attack, 0 speed Kyogre with 6 IVs, or 31 IVs in the other 4 stats. That just doesn't happen. Same with all these other Pokemon. A specific 4 IV Bronzong, a specific 6 IV Groudon, you know, he doesn't talk about any of the other downed IVs. Right here, this is where it starts getting interesting. He has all Hidden Power Water Pokemon. Hidden Power Water, 0 attack, 30 defense, 30 special attack, because that's the spread you have to hit for that, and it's the same for his Gengar. These are not the things that legitimate players so meticulously go for. They're thus giving him an unfair advantage by having a very, very, very suspicious team, incredibly likely to be hacked. And I'll show you guys why even more, because I have so many other players. Just look at all these tabs, guys. We're going to have a very fun video exposing all of the cheaters in VGC. Now I got to get back to this. Like, how is he not punished? How was he not punished when this is, like, they had to cut the video? Like, what? That's unbelievable. And then the gall. You have to watch this video that I link in the description, because I don't know if this is going to, like, come across really well, because I'm playing music in the background while doing it. But this clip is about the lady talking about
Video game players compete so hard, and
with grace and sportsmanship, so much sportsmanship that they have to remove it from their VODs. Like, I don't understand what the Pokemon Company is doing. And then going back to this is what got me. So, wanted to go and kind of skim what's going on, and then we get to the final battle right here. I see this name and I'm really confused. He's from America, but I've never heard of him. I go around asking people. None of them have ever heard of him, and I take it as a really, really good thing I've never heard of him and count myself lucky. This is how the VGC community works. This is why Pokemon as an esport is absolutely just non-existent, because the elitism, the cheating that Pokemon Company turns a blind eye to, that I have pictures of the Pokemon Company turning a blind eye to, you know, all of this, it just goes that if you don't roll with the Nugget Bridge crowd, if you don't roll with the top VGC crowd, this guy right here, WolfeyVGC, made it to round 8 of day 1. He was ready to qualify for, you know, the top cut. He was going to be a top player. He's 5-2 as well. Winner moves on, and no respect from Evans. Just, I haven't heard of him. That's a free win, and that's effectively it. That he talks about that, and the reports just get pretty bad from there. That's why I don't get, like, just the lack of respect, the lack of sportsmanship. And remember, he gave the middle finger in response to being booed. That there's no justification for that. Maybe, okay, it's a slip. Like, you know, I took out that Xerneas, yeah, fuck that guy, you know. No, he was getting booed, and he intentionally gave it to the crowd. That's a ban. You are gone. But nope, you're just going to let him walk all the way to finals and just pretend like it never happened. Way to go. Well, I found out about Mello, because fortunately, you know, Evans, he was putting everyone, so we have WolfeyVGC, we have all this stuff, and here's where, you know, I've gotten a little carried away. Every person involved in this, I did a Twitter search. I looked for words like ginning, hacking, legal, pokecheck, and stuff. Here's WolfeyVGC. Worlds qualifier, almost making it to day 2. 5-2 record, going up against the guy that'll eventually take second. Asking for people for him to gen a Pokemon, for him. Then also some more things. He's actually gone against me. Another good thing, you go and look up Verlis and you find a lot of other things. As long as we don't have Verlis doing hat checks like Nats, my team should be good to go. Gotta make a joke about me since I'm anti-cheating, you know, as long as Verlis isn't there, they won't, Pokemon Company doesn't care enough to catch my cheated team, so bragging about cheating as a Worlds qualifier. And there's just more about that. Jonathan Evans himself, let's say for the sake of argument, that I'm trying to make sure Pokemon I got are legal. VGC isn't on Battle Spot, how do I check it? Asking about Pokemon legality, just to make sure his team doesn't get caught, because remember how suspicious that team ended up looking. Also, this one I don't believe is related to cheated team, but dude, I have legit gotten DQ'd from a tournament I was going to win money from. At that point, I'll probably go for activity. So this is in response to some other tournament, but Jonathan Evans has been DQ'd from other events. I don't know if this is Pokemon, an official game, an off game, but he is unsporting to that degree. He is that much of a jerk to his opponents, or he is that much of a rule-breaking player that he has gotten disqualified from other events in the past, and he has still received no punishment. But now, here's where we start getting into that VGC rabbit hole. You just kind of link the names together. VGC, what does he have? Alright, I don't power save, but I can PK hex them. So, we have Lynx VGC. All these people with VGC in their tag name on Twitter, always asking for genning Pokemon, either bragging or asking to get hacked Pokemon for them. And that's what I was looking for. I was looking for the link because it seems like all of the top VGC players have someone or a group of people just non-stop genning legal Pokemon, because if you are a pro PK Hexer, if you're at the top right there, you can actually make it to where it's like, I know the Pokemon hack check better than the Pokemon Company, I can make you whatever you want, and then you aren't going to get caught with that. So I'm finding all of these names, I'm finding all these people, and they all link back together. You can go through their Twitters, and they're mentioning, you know, top 8, top 16, the world's place finishers, you know, these guys in their mentions all the time, while also alongside of it, conveniently talking about genning or having other requests made about hacked Pokemon. So yeah, Q Power saved me some stuff before Saturday, and then it's like, oh no, Power Save is bad. PK Hex though, that's, I got you fam. You know, I sure hope you can gen in the new games. This was back in February, so immediately when we had the Pokemon Sun and Moon announcement, first thing people are thinking, oh man, I hope genning works. I hope I can go and cheat. And that goes back to my other video right here, talking about RP in the house. Ricardo, you know, he was crying. He was like, oh man, Power Save, PK Hex, that might not work by the time the first international challenge happens. So all of these high-level, national-level players that are coming from Worlds to compete in the first international, you know, they're like, man, we can't gen. You know, this sucks. Let's boycott the event. Well, we go back to it. Here we have Chupa VGC. Another very high, very well-known VGC player who wants to gen me a couple thing. Ricardo pops up. You still need it? No thanks though. And then Cable VGC, basic cable. I will. You gotta keep reading my messages, you know. So we have, once a VGC player asks for genning Pokemon, like this was a pretty dumb move. This was in the open on Twitter where you can be found. And actually, since he has me blocked, I had to go to a private thing, so that's why I have a screenshot right here. So whenever you see a screenshot, most likely the person has blocked me. But yeah, I found this about him asking to gen, and there's also probably like a lot of chats, you know, there's DMs, private messages, to where there's a less chance of getting caught, but also just some boldness right here. Chupa asking for hacked Pokemon, and then Ricardo, as we just showed, being in favor and wanting hacked Pokemon almost immediately out of the gate for Sun and Moon. We have Zach, Professor Shroomish. Well, people freak out about Luxury Ball Bronzong even though it's legal if you catch it on Mount Pyre or in the Friend Safari. Oh, Heavy Ball actually is legal as well. Well, you look at this guy, he's talking with all of the VGC players, mentioning Trista quite a bit, who's the person that got time stalled against Michael. So yeah, it all goes deep. Everyone's connected in some way. Here's the thing. He's saying, oh, Heavy Ball is legal. Oh, Luxury Ball is legal. No, Genderless Egg Group. So that means it can only come out of a Pokeball, and Mount Pyre, that means that it's not going to have good IVs potentially. Same with the Friend Safari or anything like that. Heavy Ball, Heavy Ball actually is legal? No, that's absolutely wrong, because Heavy Ball is 4th generation only, and you can only use 6th gen Pokemon in VGC. So yeah, the odds of that Pokemon being legal are very, very low, and especially if it has like good IVs. You know, if this is the 4 IV, max IV, under speed creep, Bronzong, and a Luxury Ball, that is absolutely a ginned Pokemon. So we have all these people like asking like, hey, how suspicious does this look? Well, actually, you don't even understand the legality of Pokemon when you're calling completely illegal Pokemon legal. And then I found the link, guys. So now we're transitioning Zach into Jim in Mons. I think this guy, besides Cable VGC, who I have a lot of pictures about, this guy was what I've been looking for. For like the last 5 videos, I'm like, I'm looking for the link. I'm looking for that person that is ginning for everyone. There's like a couple I've already found that I'm also going to mention in the video. Like RP in the house, he's one. But this guy, this guy wants love. This guy has been trying to ask everyone, like, hey, let me in that group. I want to gin for you guys. I just want to help, you know, let me help out the big boys. And I think he blew it for everyone, which is absolutely, like, this was it. This is what I was looking for. So, quite honestly, trying to reset for 6IV Eviltal was a very bad idea. Psst, PKX. Psst, don't tweet about PKX. Certain people are listening. Probably mentioning me, but it shows that this guy is trying to gin for everyone. And it's like you gotta look for those private chats. But at the same time, Jim and Mons, he was talking to Mega Mogwai. I can gin Mons via PK Hex. You should need a backup ginner. Backup ginner? Mega Mogwai, I know he's not like a heavy hardcore top VGC player, but he is a league battler. He probably has a ginner for him, and he talks about ginning all the time or needing ginners. But that's what Mike right here is trying to do. He's trying to get in as at least a backup ginner or trying to work his way into circles just because these people want to feel good about themselves. Like, yo, I'm friends with X top VGC player now because I gin his teams, but he has it all in the public right here. Now, Mega Mogwai, it's no secret that he goes and asks for gin Pokemon. This is going back, you know, years and months and stuff. Anybody around to gen for me? November 2015. You know, as the leagues happen, pretty much everyone in any of those YouTube leagues, any of those YouTubers that do it, they take in gen Pokemon or they either gen it, PK Hex it themselves, and they can be a lot more sloppy about it because they're just doing it on the league. So a lot of people in that league or something. So I just looked up gen and there's Nonstop, this guy talking about gen. Wow. Really? One new result? Anybody around to gen my UCL team? That just popped up right there. So yeah, that's what he wants, and that's showing that, you know, this guy is looking for the people to gen for. So that's another piece of the puzzle. And now he's hitting up all these VGC players, you know, so that probably goes into private conversations or something like that. Maybe even deletes the tweet. And then we find Azazel VGC. I've already, you know, this guy got 6th place at Worlds. In some of my previous videos, I've already exposed him for having incredibly likely VGC hacked kind of teams right there with his blatant jokes and admittances about it. So yeah, that's another piece. You know, why would Azazel follow someone that is trying to gin for VGC players and YouTubers for the notoriety? So that's like, you can find a lot of VGC players. You know, Pokemon VGC player, 2nd place new US Naturals. Boom. Done. This, why would you follow Joda Pro? All these people. Palkia. There's our man Palkia right here. He's into his brother, you know, Nationals Juniors winner Enzo, who said his brother created his team for him, then shows to have had a completely hacked shiny team by winning Nationals with that, and then also Palkia making admittances to ginning for himself. Well, he has even more admittances to ginning right here. So thinking about homebrewing my 3DS to do Fire Emblem hacks. Is it okay to use a homebrewed 3DS at a VGC event? Sorry for the newbie question. Here comes Palkia. Yeah, it's perfectly fine. I've used a 3DS that has its boot and firmware modified at Worlds and mini regionals. Works just fine. And this is coming from Palkia, who in a previous video when I was exposing Enzo, showed us that he was actually ginning and PK hexing at an event. And then he was even talking about, like, yeah, tournament organizers don't seem to know. So Palkia, again, looping back into this, and then we have Escuro VGC, who's kind of in on all this. He's like the main ginner for a lot of people, so I'm finding multiple people. I'm finding these little groups that gin for all the VGC players. And this is where we get into Pokemon tournament organizers. Do you really want to be discussing how to gin Mons on Twitter whilst tagging a TO? Doesn't that mean you should immediately ban him, ban everyone that is involved with this guy? Maybe do a little bit more digging. No, it seems like tournament organizers, they just turn a blind eye. It's like, hey, untag me from this. Stop talking about ginning. And then do whatever. You know, it doesn't seem like there's enforcement there, even though that's like the arrogance right here. Starting to tag tournament organizers. And then it gets even better because we have this guy right here, Cable VGC. Remember, he's already been thrown around. I know TOs who gin. And this guy's another mad PK Hexer on the end. Also, someone else backs it up, you know, throws that little up arrow like, I agree with this statement. I know TOs that gen. So we have Pokemon tournament organizers. The corruption is they're allowing ginning. They're just turning a blind eye to all of this hacking. And then Cable VGC. I have a lot on this guy. Oh my goodness. It just goes on forever with him. Interview I recorded back in late August with Israel VGC. Wait, who's Israel VGC? That's Evans. So he's in contact with this guy. And then we see all this other stuff. Inferno Omni, he was doing a video, new topic, or new Pokemon vlog incoming, topic cheating in Pokemon. Why care if your skill and RNG are ultimately what determine your battle's outcome? This is every argument. This goes back to even when I did the video over here talking about RP in the house. You know, everyone that was defending this post is that, oh, it's okay to hack Pokemon for even competitive events because only the battle matters. You know, we're not here to play Bike Simulator. That's every argument. So here we have it. Just, you know, Cable VGC cementing how ingrained this is, how ingrained the cheating mindset is. That's about the battle and not anything else about it, even though it goes against Pokemon rules. And also, you're a Pokemon trainer. You're not, yeah, that's like what you're called. You're called Pokemon trainer. So training, that whole process has some influence. And the Pokemon company, the creators of the game, the tournament organizers that you are willingly playing for are the ones that disagree with you. And then you say, no, I'm going to cheat anyways. And then you get everyone on your side like that. But this shows, you know, Cable VGC. He knows tournament organizers that gen. He's in contact with Evans. He's in contact with many other people, and he has voiced his opinion about how he thinks that it's skill-based only, therefore it's okay to cheat. And then another one, someone, you know, was curious because after a recent updated to PK Hex, the URL used to inject onto the SD card hasn't been working for me. So asking, yo, how do I get PK Hex to work again? So it just doesn't happen to have a new way to identify Mons as PK Hex. Good to know. Second cart plus old 3DS's go. This is a workaround. Discussing with other people how to get the workaround to where it doesn't detect either hacked cartridge or hacked Pokemon. And there we go, you know, it just doesn't happen that they have a new way to identify this. What should I do for tomorrow? Sleep and use standard stuff or finish this Palkia and then gen that Palkia instead? Talking about genning. Hack them better, Pokegen combined with Pokejack makes things pass easily. I've tried it out. So figuring out the algorithm, understanding the Pokemon hack check better than Pokemon to where they can, you know, Pokegen, Pokecheck, get all these things together and then make it to where their Pokemon do not get detected. And then we go back to this guy right here trying to ask about PK Hex and ginning and all kinds of modifications and stuff like that, which isn't even allowed. Like, if your DS is modified, no, like, you shouldn't be allowed in an event, but apparently it isn't detectable, and then that's where we have other cheaters come in, and then this guy right here asking a question to Cybertron, hey, I have a question, I want to RNG Latios in person on Nugget Bridge, suggest that I use Pokecheck instead. So then going back, so it just kind of shows, it's all connected at some point. People want to cheat, people will Nonstop try to cheat right here, and then it works all the way up the ladder. That I found the link, and then I think that, Evans is a very special case with his incredible lack of sportsmanship and then incredible hack suspicions that are tied along with it. So there we go, guys. More VGC insanity. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you all have a nice day. I still can't believe just how they did that. I mean, we got a couple more turns, but yeah, we'll just leave so you get to watch the cut again, yo. Keep an eye on the battle timer. Keep an eye on him. See, he's feeling it. You know, he knows he's beating his opponent. That's so sporting right there, just for beginners. But then he has to go and add the other last oh, never mind. There it goes. Okay, have a good day, everyone. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you all have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching. Okay, this is the greatest news in all of Pokemon Sun and Moon because there's been another massive ban wave of players using hacked Pokemon, and it also answers the question of where's our Blazikenite, Swampert, and Sceptilite. So there's a Japan Online Championship Series that has been going on for like a month and a half right now, and players are getting banned if they are using hacked Pokemon in it. However, their participation prize was going to be the Hoenn Mega Starter. So I pulled up the page right here on the Japanese global link, and you can see that, yeah, even though it's broken English and like broken translations, pretty much that's how they get their reward prize. And the rewards haven't been given out because they're working on banning players. So Internet Tournament Pokemon Japan Championships qualifiers qualifying, players that have been using modified Pokemon, they're getting banned, and they're getting banned hard. This is a VGC 2017 ban, because the way that it works for the Japanese online qualifiers is that their system is much better than ours. And what they've been doing is there's an online qualifier. You do good there, you go to a real life event. Do good at the real life event, then you go to Worlds. Like for America, it's totally pay to win, that you have to go to different events in different states and different regionals and premier events at different seasons. So you have to be overly active. You have to do way too much work to actually get enough championship points to qualify, and then you have to go to international challenges. So if you want the best chance, you have to travel outside the country, go to the international challenge, get some points there, come to the international challenge or the nationals and whatever, and then just kind of get enough points possible, and then you eventually make it in. Japan's system is different. They're doing an online championship series, and they're actually giving away prizes like travel stipends and invites to Worlds. Well, if you get caught, if you were one of the banned players, your VGC 2017 is done for. That's how serious this ban wave is. It's even gotten to the point that if you have travel stipends paid out, or if you get any kind of rewards, you will owe that money back if you have been caught. I love it. Pokemon Company is being savage with the bans, finally, and that's kind of why I love this post from Joe Merrick. So he's going all over everything right now. Oh snap, the reason the rankings from Japan Championships took so long is that they had to weed out hackers. Ratings are now out though, so we should have all the Mega Stones soon. Imagine they wanted consistency with their release. They're saying that people who got through can still be disqualified. So even if you think you're safe right now, even if you've gotten like a rating or placing right there, they're still trying to find hackers. So it looks like they just kind of made like a massive sweep, and then they're going in and they're probably checking all the top players. They're probably checking all of like the high qualifiers or people that have some suspicious activity that they need to dig in a bit deeper to. So you might be safe right now, but then you can have your prizes stripped from you in the future if you are caught with anything hacked. Good to see the Pokemon Company clamping down on this, especially top level stuff. Also, there's a serious ban wave on people who modded their 3DS. Wow, with the Japan Championships, they do seem serious right now. So yeah, modded 3DS is done. Modded Pokemon, done. Everything is a crackdown right now, and it's just before Worlds. So I don't know. I feel like I might need to take back some of my criticisms of the Pokemon Company. I've been saying they've just been letting all this hacking slide, and they need to do more. Maybe this was their plan. Now, I'm not confirming that, but maybe this was their plan, You let the hackers get confident, you make them think that the Pokemon Company isn't going to do anything to shut them down. Then you have your big qualifying event where maybe there's just an overwhelming amount of hacking right before Worlds, and you just shut it down. That's when you make your big ban wave push. That's when because I guess there could be issues. They stop PK Hex temporarily, or they do some kind of patch. Well, then that means people are going to have a chance to adapt, and it's going to be harder to catch that before Worlds. So maybe for the last couple months, they've been really studying it. They've been really understanding and analyzing how PK Hex modifies game data, how that can be detected through game sync and online tournaments, and then they're using it for this last big event. If that's the case, then that's awesome, and maybe the Pokemon Company is not trying to allow hacking. However, this is only for Japan. We know that there's a lot of American and European players that admit to hacking on Twitter, that have hacked Pokemon, that are just shameless about it, and they're still top VGC players. You can even catch them. They've been using illegal Pokemon for most of the VGC 2017 season, as well as last year. So these are also the people you need to keep your eye on, but if that's also something that they do, that there's an international crackdown at some point as well, then things are going to get serious. But that's why I think it's crazy. You can still be disqualified, and you have to repay the travel award if caught. But I do also think that it goes back to like how much better Japan's system is, because I would prefer that. I would prefer that I just have to do some online tournaments, get my qualifications that way, and then I go to the nationals, because it seems like the real life event is kind of like their effective nationals, that you get the best players from the online competition, you get a top rating there, I guess top 32 or top 40, then you go to Worlds. Then you get travel awards, you get money, and then you go to Worlds, and then you get more travel awards and money and all kinds of cool swag like that. Instead of having to like jump through all the hoops that you have to do outside of Japan. And now that they're cracking down on hackers, it might open up for a really solid 2018. Because my biggest issue with like just allowing all these hackers is that they're like, oh, Pokemon Company allows you to hack as long as the Pokemon isn't illegal. And that's just going off of the bullcrap of legal, illegal, and legit. That doesn't exist. That people will say, or hackers will say, that a legal Pokemon is even a modified Pokemon, but if it has possible stats. This proves otherwise. This isn't like one of those other Pokemon Global Link ban waves. There's been like 10,000, I think it was like 13,000 players banned from the Pokemon Global Link for using like modified Pokemon. And for the most part, those are the obvious hackers. Those are the people that are like trying to hack in Marshadow or shiny Pokemon that don't exist or anything like that, as well as give them impossible moves and impossible stats. And like those are, for the most part, those are gonna be the players banned by this. But these are VGC players. These are people that are getting past the initial hack check, you know, anything that checks out for impossible stats or impossible moves. And these players are getting banned for having hacked quote-unquote legal Pokemon because guess what? They are illegal. This is it. This is like the last defense that hackers had, that if the Pokemon is possible to obtain in game and you gen it in, then that means it's legal. No. You lost it, guys. That these are the very players, these are the very Pokemon that are getting banned and disqualified from Worlds qualification, as well as having you maybe have to repay your travel awards and getting completely banned from VGC 2017. That's why this is the greatest news ever, because it completely destroys anything, any justification that the hackers had, even though that was already done. It's like clear black and white in the rules. Any modified Pokemon is banned. Any BKX, any genning, anything that modifies your game in any way, that is not allowed because it's illegal, because it gives an unfair advantage. It's breaking the rules, it's cheating 100%, and that's, I think, like the greatest news we could have ever had. So I wonder if my theory is maybe what they did, or maybe they just got fed up. Like maybe it was the other way around, that, okay, they were hoping that hacking wouldn't be this bad. You cannot have a serious competitive scene. You cannot have world events where you're having hundreds of players qualify, or like thousands of players competing to get to worlds. You cannot have a serious competitive scene when a majority of the scene is filled with open just hackers that are shameless in how hard they cheat the game. I want to keep going further. You know, you can just look on YouTube. You can see all the people that are scumbag giving away all these hacked Pokemon. And it's same on Wonder Trade. It's nonstop. But at least for the competitive scene, I want to see these hack checks implemented online for the battle spot as well. It does make it easier to reverse engineer, sadly. But I want to see bigger steps. Like, well, I mean, like, this is the biggest step. Like, I'm not trying... Okay, I'm happy. I'm not trying to say I'm not happy and I can't be pleased or anything like that. But I want to see this like trickle down to casual. I want the hackers to have zero justification. I want them to be completely removed from Pokemon. And Game Freak is showing that they have the power to do this. That they're doing bans, they're cracking down on modded DSs because this is illegal. It's illegal to do this stuff. And it looks like they're finally stepping down. And that's a really good thing to see. So we're going to see how this ends up shaking out as well. I had a couple of other thoughts, but I've pretty much like stated everything in videos at this point. That, you know, this is what we need. This is the biggest issue in Pokemon right now. Looks like the Pokemon Company agrees, and it feels good being right. I think that's it. Like after all the hate I've gotten for following the rules, being a legitimate player, you are now in the minority. You are going to be attacked for being a legitimate player in Pokemon right now. It looks like it's all starting to swing back. That hacking, that cheating is not being tolerated anymore. And that's going to be a great thing to see as we go into Worlds for VGC 2017. My only concern is that maybe with the US Internationals coming up in St. Louis, that this is maybe a little bit of a heads up for the hackers, that what they'll say is like, oh, they're starting to crack down. Maybe they were going to implement their like ultra mega super hack check at the Internationals and try to get players that way, and players that have already qualified. Like there's people right now, there's people right now that have like enough championship points to qualify for Worlds. So if they don't show up to the event, or if they stop hacking for that event, then that means they won't be detected, even though they earned all those championship points through illegitimate means with modified Pokemon while cheating. So it's still not the most perfect system, but at least Japan implemented it. They're cracking down on it super hard. I just want to see these steps. I want to see bigger pushes. I want to see a removal of all these players that are using cheated Pokemon. That way we can have a fair scene and maybe a better scene. Hopefully VGC 2018, it could be the same. Like I feel that Pokemon Company, they would save tons of money. Well, maybe not. Actually, I was thinking about it because regionals, the thing about the trading card game regionals is that you have the event space and then you just kind of like rent out an extra room, or you just kind of like split the event space in half and have VGC players on the other side. So maybe it's not going to be like too much of a venue savings, but also maybe like prize support as well. Like I would enter online even if there was like a $500 prize, or even if there was no prize. If I just got like championship points, I'd be more ready to enter online than actually like make a trip out to regionals to have a chance at winning like $1,000 cash or something, like the current regionals championships. So yeah, like they could save money on the prizes and then just do everything online, and then have one big IRL event that gives you prize money as well as travel to Worlds. That would be a much better system. And also, like with this international challenge for Japan, that, you know, you have the Japan Championships. This is where your qualification is. This is where, if you are using hacked Pokemon at any point throughout the season, you'll be caught here, and then you won't be able to go to Worlds. So at least this is going to be like the gatekeeper. This is where all that happens. Same for the IRL event. So this seems like a better system for having anyone participate. That there could be some kid that lives in the middle of nowhere who doesn't have a lot of money. You know, this is kind of where I grew up. That back in the 4th generation, back in the 5th generation, when I was in my prime of Pokemon battling, when I was the best I've ever been at the game, and I knew I was definitely a Worlds competitor. We just didn't have the money. Our family couldn't go out to regionals just so the kid could go and play some Pokemon. But that means, like, if you have these online challenges and these online qualifiers, it gives those people an opportunity. It means that you have a chance to actually, even if you live in the middle of nowhere, you can get the prize, you can go out to the real event, and then you can use that to go to Worlds. So now this is actually a better system of setting up people for having, like, dreams of becoming a Pokemon champion and a Pokemon master, instead of, oh, I have enough money to where I can participate in every regional event, just drive or fly out to every event, and then eventually I'll just soak up enough CP. Even though I'm not a top competitor, you still get to go to Worlds, and maybe even get lucky at Worlds, or something crazy like that. So, system's a lot more fair. Banning is definitely something that need to happen, and it looks just really good for Pokemon overall. So if you guys enjoy the video, hope you all have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching. I honestly wasn't expecting anything to come out of Pokemon Worlds this year, that after exposing most of the top VGC players for cheating in VGC 2016, they've been very careful about the game. Also, PK Hex is really good right now for making Pokemon that can't be detected, because people were bringing in hacked DS systems and then reverse engineering the hack check, and now it's just kind of a mess out there. So catching and finding hackers at Worlds, probably not going to be likely, was my anticipation going into this. However, another situation has opened up, which is pretty much just confirmed to me that VGC is completely rotten at this point. All it is it's just filled with asshole players that are just mean to each other, don't have respect for each other, don't have respect for the game, and just get pissy about every little thing. So let's go into the situation that happened with Ben Norton. Now, Ben Norton is a senior division player, which means that he is a minor, like, age-wise. So let's see what ends up happening here. At the time of writing this, it's the night before day 2 of Pokemon World Championships. Here, sitting in the hotel lobby with all my stuff, getting my parents to reserve a new room for me the next 2 nights. Here's my story. My name is Ben Norton. I received travel award plus 2-day invitation to the Pokemon World Championships. However, both my parents weren't able to attend the event with me, so I was forced to take someone else as my +1. First thing I do is ask my friend Markel Thornton if he wants to go. He was unable to get an invitation, so he was planning on playing in the Anaheim Open. It kind of worked out. We're both from the same state, so basically he's getting a full paid trip to Worlds because of me. Remember that for later. Now, this long story right here is really summed up by saying Markel was mad that Ben gave him a bad team, and it wasn't even a bad team. One of the moves was something that Markel did not agree with, so Markel kicked the chair that Ben was sitting in and then had him in like an arm lock and also pulling on his hair and stuff, and then stole his DS, threatening to smash it over a disagreement that kind of got out of hand. And then security steps in, and then he ends up getting in a hotel room, and then Markel is just kind of kicked to the curb while he tries to figure out what to do in his situation at the same time. Now this is where things get really strange, because I feel like Ben might be overplaying the situation, while at the same time Markel's actions are still inexcusable, because it feels like you want to be bad for Ben, but he's kind of a dick at the same time. You know, he's made some pretty, like, immature tweets towards me. You know, it's not my fault, Smogon took your girlfriend, which is just a stupid meme at this point. You're not going to get a girlfriend anytime soon. Also, talking about triggering me. Can't wait for Velisify's rant video about how the new format is encouraging cheating. Just wait, it'll happen. And he's a cheater himself, because he's admitted this on Twitter quite a few times. So yeah, I don't have anyone to gen a team for me when it comes to talking about a premiere challenge, and also saying having trouble with PK Hex, someone help me please. And even if we, like, break down this twit longer, it also kind of seems a little awkward. No, I kindly give him a team. No, just randomly make a team and throw it at Markel the night before a Pokemon event. And also, looking at the team sheets that he has posted in the past, we have a Hidden Power Ice Shiny Thundurus with 0 attack IVs, 30 defense IVs. So, the absolute most perfect Thundurus, which is almost impossible to get. Like, getting a 0 attack, 30 defense Hidden Power Ice Thundurus, very difficult to begin with, but then also he has Hidden Power Ice on it, and this was from VGC 2015, so there was no hyper training. It's an obviously hatched Pokemon, and by the way, his team is fully shiny. So yeah, he has hacked in the past. He's tweeting about needing help genning and then trying to get into PK Hex for VGC, for like later VGC and stuff. And now he's just talking about like passing ground teams. So he's a pretty toxic player in his own right. And also, it feels like if this situation was really that bad, that there would have been police interference, because Markel is 19 and he's assaulting a minor while also trying to be the person responsible for him. My guess, even though I don't understand like the complete like travel stipend thing from the Pokemon Company, if your parents can't show up, you need an adult with you, which is also why why saying, you know, getting my parents to reserve a new room for me the next 2 nights. That way his parents are still trying to take responsibility for him, because the adult that was accompanying him had to be escorted off the room by security. But like, where's a police report if it was really this bad? Where's like something happening? Like, if this is an adult assaulting a minor, this seems like it should be a lot more intense. And also, they're really close friends. So close of friends that he's the first person that he asks for a trip across the country to Pokemon Worlds. So there's a lot of trust and a lot of friendliness there. Also, even though Mello has me blocked on Twitter, we can see that they mess around and stuff. Exposed Nightlight tried to hurt me with a butter knife. So just like, you know, they're at dinner and they have just like a random play fight. So that's why I'm trying to like piece together the situation, because we effectively have a kid who is with someone older, but they're also really close friends. So I imagine that play fighting could happen frequently. That I remember when I was a teenager, you know, my early to mid high school years, like if there was ever a disagreement with my friends, you know, it would get rough sometimes, and rough housing is something that happens. So I'm wondering if this got escalated to a really crazy degree. But also from Mello's side of the story, he was saying that Ben was in a bad mood as well, that Ben had a really bad first day at Worlds and was in a really aggressive and pissy mood. So that's why Markel felt that he was being more defensive, that Markel felt that he was like more or less play kicking the chair, like, dude, this is a stupid move that you put on. And then Ben got more aggressive, so Markel then like freaked out. But Markel has also admitted that he did overreact, and I'm wondering if that's maybe why it didn't get pushed any further. But at the same time, he had to find a way back home on his own, that he wasn't able to be in the hotel room anymore with Ben because Ben didn't feel safe, and he had to kind of find his own travel arrangements to get back. So it did kind of spiral out of control from there. And then also when we get a little deeper into like Ben's attitude and stuff, you know, he acts like a dick on Twitter, he cheats his Pokemon, and then he's also hanging out with Smogon players. And this tweet right here says, couple of photos with Blairamons and someone else. So the thing about Blairamons is that he is one of the people that was involved with doxing Wolfe Glick. So this just kind of shows that it's all just a circle of toxic people being shitty to each other and then being friends with other shitty people, and then when one of them turns on each other, you know, fights are going to break out over the most mundane of arguments, like saying that a Pokemon's moveset is bad. VGC just needs to be torn down right now. Like, the Pokemon Company really needs to step in. They need to crack down on the hacking. They need to really kind of like punish behavior that it gets really abusive on social media. And I think that that's kind of the problem right now, is that we have community side on Smogon doxing world champion players because they're trying to get like an unfair advantage on the team and stuff. And then we have people being friends with those people because they have like admin powers in Smogon, and then also Smogon is really just bleeding in and corrupting VGC at the same time. The Pokemon competitive community just feels like a lawless wasteland right now of hacking and being dicks to each other, but then also just faking like, hey, we're a good community, we're all just friends up here and we support the top VGC players. But from what I've heard, that's extremely elitist. You know, if you're not in the world's qualification bracket, or even like if you're not in like the higher percent, you know, if you're not in the best of the players that qualify for Worlds, you're going to be looked down on. And then that's also where they try to punch up, you know, they try to get information on the Worlds players to get unfair advantage. But that's also when they try to use very dubious means like doxing other people to get advantage on what that player's strategy is looking like going into Worlds or going into a large event. And yeah, and then like they just try to fake it, and that's why I also feel that, you know, VGC, the competitive side, the official Pokemon Company, they need to step in and do something about it, because we have cheaters like Ray Rizzo that have been on the desk work for Pokemon, and then they have connections to everyone else that's involved as well. And then when you look at, Wolfe Glick has really good favor with the Pokemon Company because he's friends with Aaron Zhang. He's also friends with Ray Rizzo, and then everyone just kind of like shows that community up there and they support each other. But then in reality, behind the scenes, the whole community is an absolute wreck, and it's just not sustainable. I see that the Pokemon Company, they're really trying to get more people to care about competitive Pokemon, but when you break it down, no one cares. Like, I remember caring much more about Worlds late 4th generation, early 5th generation, but then like mid 5th gen, as like Pokegen became really popular and we got more cheating in the 6th and 7th generations, it really just kind of dropped off. That there's no dreams anymore. None of the Pokemon players out there that are playing the game casually, or at least trying to learn how to get competitive, they're not thinking, man, it would be great if I'm a world competitive player, because they see this poor behavior. They see that the only way to get in is through cheating, and then also having to kind of like become friends with all of these people that are just dicks to each other. You have to like, kind of work your way up through a really toxic environment just to kind of stand a chance against all of these other people that have been more situated. So the people that have seniority, they're really not the right people for representing the Pokemon community, and the Pokemon Company isn't doing anything to stop them, because it'd be really easy. They have reasons, it's like, boom, you've been shown to use cheating Pokemon, get banned for a year, just kind of like clean the slate for a year or two, and then see what ends up rising out of that, and if a better hat check comes in, I think it'd be a lot better. But no one has the aspirations. No one thinks that's cool to be the Pokemon World Champion anymore, when really that was all that me and my friends talked about years ago, and now it's just kind of the opposite, that there really isn't any reason to care about what goes on with the competitive Pokemon scene, because a lot of people know that it's just terrible right now. And then we have more stories like this where it's just like fighting, assault, but the person being assaulted is still a jerk too, and then hanging out with other jerks, and then involvement with hacking and cheating anyways. So yeah, that's the competitive Pokemon right now, guys. Hope you all enjoy the video. Hope you all have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching. I feel like cheating has gotten so bad in VGC that the Pokemon Company only has two options right now. One, lock the doors of the International and ban everyone inside, or two, allow hacking in the rule set. That doesn't sound favorable for anyone no matter what you pick, but this is what it's looking like, guys. We have Pokemon PhD, well-known Pika Hex, hacker, Jinner, whatever in the VGC community. This is what he's asking right now. I have a favor to ask of capable London competitors. Pretty much people with Pika Hex, modified games, systems, or anything like that. Dump me a copy of your save file post-battle box, preferably before as well. Pretty much what he's asking is, hey, I want to read the save file to see what changes there are once your battle box is locked. That way I can reverse engineer it and find out what the hack check is doing. Therefore, we can hack better Pokemon for the future VGC events. And it's that big. Just shameless, fearless. Yo, you guys know who you are. There's a majority of people hacking at this international VGC event with top worlds players that have been busted for hacking before. Well, they're back and they're still ginning, PKXing. They're doing whatever. They're illegal right now, and then there's a call out to them like, hey, if you're there, if you're cheating, go and send me some game files. You know how to do that because you're a cheater, and then I can go and figure out what's going on right there. So we can also go and look at some of the people responding. Puddles VGC. He needs to be banned on the spot. I can maybe do it if I get my hands around a computer sometime. He's hacking, and if he gets a hold of a laptop and can transfer over the files and make a save copy, boom, that's a hacker right there. We found him. Same with Vovi or whatever it is. I can help with this. Get these guys banned. These guys should be struck down immediately. And it just gets worse from there. So remember when I was talking about that guy that had the beast ball and he privated his account and he said he was sorry and stuff? Well, I mean, this is where things start getting really interesting, because he had a person talk to him, put your Twitter on private, click protect my tweets so you know who can't stalk you. And of course that's going to be me, because I'm the one that's going to search through and find out who is cheating. And then shortly after this tweet right here, he made his account private, even though he was receiving absolutely no hate from anyone about the hacked Pokemon, because the community supports it. Remember, we had Judy Azraeli. He was the one that was saying, no, it's okay that you're cheating. Just keep competing with your cheated Pokemon. It's okay. So that's an issue right there. And we keep going deeper. So the rest of this video is going to be exposing tons of VGC players. I think that first tweet is all we really need to just kind of show how big of an epidemic the cheating is. That so many people are cheating right now that you can just kind of call and be like, yo, just go and give me the files because I know you're cheating right here. Well, we have Marcus right here. He is complaining that people are actually cheating mid-tournament. Changing EVs between the tournament. Okay. Meadow Plate instead of Miracle Seed? Not okay. Pretty much he's mocking the rules because the Pokemon team sheets, the Pokemon Company is over-enforcing them and creating a lot of problems for people, even though that the Pokemon Company isn't checking the EVs before and after. So people are coming back from day one saying, oh, this didn't work. Let me change my Pokemon mid-tournament, which is against the rules, and then bring new Pokemon in. And since they have PK Hex, since they're already hacking and cheating, they can easily modify their Pokemon because they never had time to make the team legitimately in the first place. And they certainly don't have time with like the 14 hours between days to change entire Pokemon like that. So this is kind of admitting like, yeah, there's more cheaters there. There's more people hacking. There's people that are breaking the rules to gain an advantage. Like, this is an objective advantage right here. Changing the EVs during the tournament is absolutely an advantage because that's going to make it to where if you're expecting something, like you've already faced this trainer before, or you can already get an idea of what they're running, what kind of sets and spreads they're running. Well, if they change that up on you, that's going to put you at an extreme disadvantage because they were not allowed to do that, and now they're making their Pokemon team stronger against the rules. It's just kind of poking fun at the Heck Check isn't detecting these EV changes. It's not detecting the impossible Pokeballs like the Beast Ball Porygon. The judges at this international are so incompetent to not be able to catch this that they didn't ban the guy. The guy dropped instead. So that's a pretty big issue right here. And then people are getting hit. Wolfe Glick, his Porygon, he wrote Porygon on the sheet instead of Porygon 2, so he's not allowed to use his Porygon tomorrow. Same with this guy's Gastrodon. So Marcus had a Gastrodon. He brought the wrong Gastrodon. Now, my experience with making teams is that I have one Pokemon for each because it takes a while to breed. It takes a while to build up these teams, and I don't have multiples of the same Pokemon for different sets and stuff, but this guy does. So it's likely that he has a lot of different Gastrodons that he's been genning or receiving in this kind of way to where he could accidentally pick the wrong one and then enter that with the tournament even though his sheet says something else. And then no one else knew that team sheets were needed until registration. They shouldn't have been so heavily weighted because now people are getting game losses. They're losing entire Pokemon from their teams just from having the wrong ones. But I think that that also shows more hacking. That shows more people using illegal Pokemon if they don't understand their team enough because they just received it. They didn't work for their team at all. So they're just kind of scribbling things down, then realizing it's wrong because they didn't put any effort into understanding the legality of their Pokemon. Ooh, and I just found out about this while editing the video. We have Jonathan Evans. That is right, Mr. Middle Finger himself, giving the bird to 30,000 people at Worlds. No punishment for that, but it looks like he got caught for an incorrect team sheet. So that's something right there. It just kind of shows like, well, how are these people getting caught? If you're playing Pokemon legitimately, these are the kind of issues that you shouldn't have. And also, we saw from his Worlds report that his team very incredibly likely to be hacked. I mean, perfect 6 IV Kyogre, Groudon, 0 attack on that Kyogre, also Hidden Power Water on his Pokemon, specific, very hacked looking Pokemon from his team. So again, all it does is link. All it does is link together. So now we can start making these connections. So Marcus, here's the squad. Squatted up with Wolfe, Glick, and a lot of other people, and now this is where we start making connections to even more hackers. So Wolfe, Glick, cheating out Oscuro VGC. This guy I already busted before because he is the #1 PK Hexer, self-proclaimed #1 PK Hexer in Spain. So we have Wolfe Glick, who has been caught with cheated Pokemon in the past, retweeting a joke tweet about cheating from someone he is in contact with who has cheated Pokemon in the past. Also, did want to go and bring up that the Pokemon that Wolfe Glick used at Worlds were not his and perfect, and obtained by seemingly the same source with Italy. So there's something fishy going on between Wolfe Glick and Oscuro and all these other people that are going on, but I wanted to keep going with the connections. Now, something that's very interesting to point out between Wolfe Glick and Marcus is that they are on the same MBL team known as Team Dreamball. It's an unofficial multi-battle league, and what this is doing is making fun of me and Wolfe Glick's illegal Raichu. That Wolfe Glick had an impossible 100% illegal Dreamball Raichu, and instead of owning up to this illegal Pokemon, they decided that it was better to just joke about it in a league filled with hacked Pokemon, because online Pokemon battle leagues, especially for YouTube, are going to be primarily with hacked Pokemon, and another person or another team in that league is Duncan Knee Deep and Hoodlum Scrafty, known as Team Views. Again, another jab at me, because I just make all these videos for views and drama and stuff like that. So instead of being mature about it, they decided to turn their hacked battle league into a joke against me that actually proves the illegal Pokemon that are in the community, and we already know for sure that Duncan Kneedeep cheats his Pokemon and advocates for hacking. He said on Twitter many times that he is okay with people hacking their Pokemon, and he does this all the time for his YouTube channel with his free-for-alls, multi-battles, and all kinds of battles that are going on with his channel. Also, he works directly with Hoodlum Scrafty, who has a pirated copy of Pokemon Sun and Moon. His Let's Plays were also dated for November 14th, when he was trying to upload them, thus showing he had an early copy of the game and was uploading early videos of it, while also being a part of hacked battle royales and hacked free-for-alls already in Pokemon Sun and Moon. So all the connections of just non-stop PK hexing, non-stop hacking, it just keeps going deeper and deeper. So let's see what the rest of the squad is up to as well. So we have a couple of people right here. Bill is saying, you know, make sure you know the most important illegal moves and abilities. Call a judge once you find an opponent using them, because it's anticipated. It's anticipated that cheating is going to be that rampant that you should memorize what the illegal moves are. That way you can pin someone for cheating. But then we have Haricot. This guy responded to him and says new PKX legality checker does that. Now, why would he be telling him this unless he is familiar with PKX in some way? Like, hey, you can run that through the legality checker and it actually flags these things for you so you can understand it a little better, and also make sure that your team isn't illegal as well. Well, this guy, oh my goodness, Haricot, mega cheater. All he does is talk about PK Hex. PK Hex Live, going for PK Hex, provides the previous version of PK Hex, PK Hex this. Now, something that is unsettling is that Haricot is at this event right now. He should be banned on the spot. He has talked about PKX before. He's talking about the illegality checker for the current generation, and he is very versed in PK Hex, while also having a very likely pirated copy of the game. Because here we have it, November 19th, just a day after Pokemon Sun and Moon was released. He has a full guide for catching the Tapus, but he's European, and they got a delayed release. So he either received an early copy, or most likely, since he has a DS. He has a DS that's capable of PKXing. He has homebrewed software. He has all these things in his favor, and it seems like with the rate that he put out his LP, and this in-game, late-game content, and a full, well-edited video, that he had access to the game before launch via illicit methods. So that's something to keep an eye on right there. As I was connecting names together, I found Velocity VGC, restarting my Omega Ruby so I can play on BattleSpot. I wonder what it feels like to play Pokemon stress-free for once, because back in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, there was a lot of banning going on that you would get BattleSpot banned if you were caught with illegal Pokemon and a modded kind of game cartridge as well. No, I haven't been banned yet. You only say, I haven't been banned yet, if you're doing something that would cause you to get banned at some point. So he decided to wipe his entire cartridge so he wouldn't be able to get banned on the BattleSpot once all of this was coming out. Also, we can find out that he is also at the International Challenge right now, so incredibly grateful for the opportunity to compete in London today. And even though he has experience with modifying his cartridge and hacking his Pokemon, and he's connected to all of these other people that are using PK Hex, that are cheating at this event. So he was also working with this guy, Sanvi VGC. So Sanvi comes into the picture, and then he's talking about ginning and stuff. So just because I use a shiny Bronzong by mistake doesn't mean I'm bad at ginning. Feel free to hit me up as well. I'm better than this guy at ginning people that are going to US Nats. So this was back in Nationals earlier on in the summer. People going to US Nats, if you need help with ginning your mons last minute, hit me up. So Yuri VGC is one of the guys that's also providing these illegal Pokemon to a lot of the top VGC players for last minute team adjustments, and there could very well be a connection to all of the people that I've talked about in this video and their potentially illegal Pokemon from this guy right here. So it keeps going even deeper because Yuri VGC has talked with Pokemon PhD. It comes full circle. It's all a group of friends that go and cheat at these large events, and that's why they are just breaking the rules, and this is why the Pokemon Company is scared. The Pokemon Company has to turn a blind eye, or else you lose 99% of your competitive scene. That all of the top VGC players, they get exposed, they get banned, and they are breaking the rules, and then you have nothing to show for it. That's going to make the Pokemon Company look bad, but also makes them look really bad when all of this gets exposed. So what does the Pokemon Company do? If they allow hacking, Nintendo's going to be pissed because that's encouraging modification, that's encouraging TOS breaking, that's encouraging pirating software, save file modification, it's encouraging all these illegal things. So the Pokemon Company is probably just tied to where they can never allow hacking because it's kind of illegal on many different levels, but also they're afraid to ban this because then they have no competitive scene left, and they they have to make themselves look bad because then all the other years, Ray Rizzo's Dream Ball Aegislash, well, that's an illegal Pokemon, and then they went and encouraged him by making him a commentator for VGC events. You rewarded a hacker by giving him a job, and then now you're going back and punishing hackers. Also, Wolfe Glick, they gave him a copy of Sun and Moon early to review the game, even though it seems very likely right now that he has had access to illegal devices and illegal Pokemon. But yeah, quite funny to me when I got PKX after playing at Regionals, and I discovered that my Talonflame didn't have QG as its egg move. So talking about like Quick Guard Talonflame or something, as Pokemon PhD is breaking down like whatever's going on with PK Hex right now, showing that he has access to the software, showing that, you know, these people that are PK Hexing and Ginning, they just all work together to try to help out all of these top VGC players. And then, who remembers Ian? Ian is a little bit of a complex story right here. Feels so guilty for doing this in the middle of the convention center side event area. So this guy, he is a well-known VGC player. He's been on stage. He PK hexes his team, and he was the guy that gave Enzo his hack team for the Juniors National Champion. So Junior National Champion, I already exposed because he said he got his team from his brother, and his brother is an avid PK hexer. And here we even have another shiny Smeargle that he PK hexed in the game really early on. Look at this, November 15th, pirated game. So just in case people were thinking Ian might not be pirating, you know, maybe this post about him using PK Hex at Nationals is a joke. Well, he has a pirated game, he has PK Hex, he has a Dark Void shiny Smeargle. Guess what Enzo had? Dark Void shiny Smeargle. So he hacked for his little brother that ended up winning the Nationals for juniors. I've already done a video on this, but just keeps going in more and more. And guess who's at the event? Yep, he should get banned as well. How he hasn't been banned yet, I don't know. After my Nationals video where he admits to PK hexing and then going on stage. Where are you, Pokemon Company? You gotta step down. I've showed people that are blatantly hacking. People that need to get struck down almost immediately because they're like, hey, I'm at the event and I've openly admitted to cheating or directly engaging with cheaters. So that's pretty much all I have to say right now, guys. This took a lot of digging. I hope you guys at least enjoyed the effort of trying to expose what's going on in the VGC community. Pokemon Company, they've backed themselves into a corner by not punishing Ray Rizzo. I feel that everyone's like, oh, we can get away with blatantly illegal Pokemon now. And then the Pokemon Company has slightly shifted their rules. They keep changing their rules, like you will be banned to you might get punished for having these illegal Pokemon. Oh, by the way, the hat checking index works differently than all of these other things that are stating about hacked Pokemon. Illegally manipulated Pokemon, well, the index trumps that and there's no mention of it. So it seems like the Pokemon's trying to skirt around it, and now we have people that are just modding their games. Like, I don't know why the Pokemon Company isn't punishing this. This is illegal behavior. This game modification, all of this is against the terms of service, and they're just turning a blind eye to it because the Pokemon doesn't appear to be hacked, even though you can make these obvious traces. You can obviously find out that there is illegal Pokemon, that there is cheating going on at an insane pace. But again, if you stop it, that means people that you've praised before, people you've led on stage, people that you've hired are now going to be banned. And I think that the Pokemon Company, there is more corruption than I ever thought. We all know about Scott Glaza and the BS he has pulled before, and he seems to be a major influence of the competitive part of Pokemon, and at least writing articles for the Pokemon Company. So that's kind of showing like there's a lot of people that are looking out for these cheaters and preventing the Pokemon Company from taking action. That seems like the judges are either completely incompetent, which means the people hiring the judges, the Pokemon Company, whoever's in charge of this hack checking, is failing their duty entirely, or they just have to turn a blind eye. I already showed that there was a Pokemon tournament official who in a Twitter conversation said, hey, don't discuss illegal Pokemon around me, instead of banning them on the spot. Like, that's what you do. You don't go, hey, you shouldn't do this around me. You go, oh, thanks, you get busted now. You know, that's how an impartial judge is supposed to work. But it seems like everyone is failing at this point when it comes to Pokemon Company, and it's just an absolutely sad thing to see. But like I said, they're kind of backed into a corner right now, and I will not stop pushing this. Like, when it's this easy to go and just catch non-stop cheaters at these large events, like the International is the Nationals. It's almost like it's pretty much a mini Worlds right now. Because this is where all the top players are going together to get their big push and make a name for themselves in the 7th generation, and almost all of them are hacking, and that's what it's looking like, guys. So I hope y'all enjoyed the video. A lot of work, but it feels good to make these solid connections. So guys, enjoy the video. Hope y'all have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching. You couldn't even make this up if you tried. Alright, so this is gonna be one of the craziest VGC exposed videos I've ever done. What I need everyone to comment down below, like the video, share it with everyone, because the information needs to get out about a top 16 Worlds competitor using hacked Pokemon at official VGC events, and it's so blatantly obvious. Like, I'm just gonna start it off right now before anyone can say, oh, you're just making stuff up. That is an Incineroar inside of a Premier Ball, and it's a shiny Incineroar with a full shiny team except for the Totem Mimikyu. Come on, guys, it's so blatantly obvious the dude is cheating. And the reason why I need everyone to like and share this video is because I've discovered something interesting about YouTube lately. That if a video gets about 40% dislikes or more, it stops getting promoted by the algorithm. Like, the video just dies. Now, what this means is that videos can effectively be censored by just mass disliking them, and also, there's been a pretty massive dislike botting attack on my channel recently, and the weird thing is, it's like specifically targeting hacking and VGC videos. So, my channel is trying to be censored from getting this information out there, which is why we just need to do this manually. You know, this isn't going to go into YouTube recommended videos and stuff. It's just going to be hated on. It's going to be attacked too much. So we need this to manually be spread, liked, loved as much as possible, and try to give it a chance from all of the attacks trying to suppress this information. Like, that's how crazy it is. And another thing that makes it even crazier is, like, I'm wondering if this information is being suppressed by the Pokemon Company. That a couple of outlets, a couple of people, they picked this up, they were tweeting about how there was this illegal Incineroar at an official VGC event, and it seems like nothing is being done about it. And then I went on to the Pokemon website to look up this event, and it doesn't exist. Like, so I looked up specifically mid-season showdowns, because this is a mid-season showdown, which is effectively like a mini regionals, and has a pretty hefty point value behind it. So it's very important. It's like, oh, this is just an unofficial event, the guy's cheating, so it's okay. No, that's not what this is at all. This is someone that's cheating, which is effectively stealing points from other people that could have qualified instead. So that's why this is a pretty big issue, that this is a really big problem that we see at, like, premier events, mid-season showdowns, and even regionals. It's that people show up with hacked Pokemon, they're not as well regulated, or people just kind of look the other way when it comes to hacked Pokemon, as I've shown time and time again on this channel. And because of that, legitimate players, they're not able to earn the points, therefore they can't qualify to Worlds, which is why the top players in VGC right now, it's just majority cheaters. It's just tainted with people using hacked Pokemon. And so I went onto the website, and I looked up mid-season showdowns from December 10th to January and, like, all the way down. Look at that, guys. This event isn't here. Now, one theory I have about this is that the Pokemon Company could have potentially scrubbed this listing once all of the hacking allegations blew up, because they were trying to hide the information about a top 16 Worlds competitor using hacked Pokemon at an official event. It took me quite some time to actually find a listing, to find the VOD, to find all the details about this information, because the Pokemon Company website no longer had the result. And that made it just a little more interesting. Now, to be fair, there is a chance that maybe the Pokemon Company forgot and they didn't update it for this mid-season showdown, but kind of doesn't make sense considering there's a lot of other events before and after that have already been posted. And this is a very important mid-season showdown because this is the first event that has the Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon rules. So yeah, I'd imagine that that'd be pretty important. Also, it took place in a pretty populated area and it was picked up by a lot of VGC players as well. Now, fortunately, a fan in my Discord server was able to find this event listing right here. Thank you very much, Annie, for the hookup. January 1st, 2018, Winter Mid-Season Showdown, hosted by Pokemon Labs, which is how I was able to find their Twitch channel. They have VODs of some other events that they've hosted as well. And this is an official event. We have many people talk about it. Gavin Michaels, he is one of the commentators. 2013, U.S. National Champion. 2017, California Regional Champion. Number 7 in A. And then Top 32 Worlds 2017. So, a pretty high-tier competitor. Also just kind of like showing that this is an official event and stuff. Note, this is still the first 2018 event. Singapore started 1:30 p.m. January 1st, and we'll be sure to start earlier. So we have a sanctioned event that's also being run by ex-VGC players. It has, like, VGC players working with them, and then inside of all that, we have a top competitor using blatantly hacked Pokemon, and then also a full team of shiny Pokemon. Now, one thing that kind of gets me is that people will criticize it when I say that a full team of shiny Pokemon is more likely to be hacked, even though time and time again on the channel we've been able to show that, sure, if this was just all shiny Pokemon and Totem Mimikyu, it would be questionable, but we really wouldn't have anything else on it. The Premier Ball Incineroar is absolutely 100% impossible. The current breeding mechanics in the game make it impossible because you only receive the starter Alolan Pokemon inside of Pokeballs, and Pokeballs only transfer between Pokemon of the same species. Now, there was never a Premier Ball event that could breed down. Dittos will never pass over their balls into other Pokemon as well, so that means it's just absolutely impossible to have an Alolan starter Pokemon outside of a Pokeball at this time. So I mean, that proves it's hacked right there, and then the full shiny team just backs it up. The guy just blatantly hacking his team right there, and then people are getting mad at me like, oh, you can't say when it's a full shiny, even though it makes the odds of, you know, having a legit competitive team not that hard. But then having a team of full competitive shiny Pokemon, the odds are in 1 in tens, if not hundreds of thousands, because that's hundreds of hours of grinding just for a team that you might not use fully, you know? This is another thing that happens, that you don't just have 6 shiny Pokemon and then you run that team forever. You're going to mix up your team, you're going to do different things. And when it comes to hacking and the accessibility of PK Hex and stuff, it's just much more likely they're going to do that, click the shiny button, and then it's just kind of a dead giveaway when we see some other stuff like this going on. So now the question is, who is Alejandro Jimenez? Well, top 16, 2016 Worlds competitor. Here's his team, here's his page right here. And another really interesting thing about Worlds 2016 is that legendary Pokemon were allowed, and it seems like a majority of the top 16 players were using illegal Pokemon, that they had like specific natures, specific IVs, specific hidden powers and data values and stuff like that, that just didn't seem possible, because getting a 6 IV legendary Pokemon, if you're not using one, you're going to be at a competitive disadvantage, and really the only way of getting them is through hacking because of the incredibly low odds. I already talked about Wolfe, Glick, and a lot of the other top players as well, so the nature of the format made hacking a very high possibility. Also, Wolfe, Glick, he'd already used an illegal Raichu earlier on in the year, and then he just had a pretty much impossible Raichu, that there were no guaranteed IVs, but had perfect IVs, in the odds are in the hundreds of millions and stuff for getting something like that. A lot of the other players, like they were doing VGC reports, it was just very suspicious how they would have, you know, the 0 attack, perfect nature Kyogre, just like that. And then they were able to get multiple of these legendaries, as they say, to kind of change up their team throughout the year and throughout Worlds. So, you know, there was a massive hacking problem there, and I think this just kind of shows that there's some kind of protection. That a lot of the VGC players, they're looking out for each other, that they have like a source gen, or they're genning the Pokemon themselves. And I mean, I was also able to expose that in another video as well. That, you know, there's just like a lot of VGC players talking with other VGC players, like, oh, I can PK extra team, I can make teams for you, I can create Pokemon, and stuff like that. So because of that, they have it down to a science. I've already exposed so many different times in so many different ways. Now, one crazy thing that I've also shown is that hackers and VGC players work together to disassemble the hack check, therefore they can hack Pokemon even better that will never be caught. You know, a favorite ask of capable London competitors, dump me a copy of your save file post battle box, preferably before as well. That way this guy can analyze the save file and figure out what's going on. And then VGC players actually came, like, just stepped up and said, yeah, well, I'll do it. So we have this guy right here, Puddles VGC. I can maybe do it if I get my hands around a computer sometime. Only back home on Monday. So the way that you can dump a save file is by having a modified save or a hacked game as well. So that kind of just shows, like, these people are coming up like, yeah, I've got a hacked game, and don't worry, I'll give you the modified save file and all kinds of stuff like that. And now let's get back to Alejandro, whose handle is @LegacyVGC, and he's blocked me on Twitter. So this is kind of a thing that I've seen. Whenever I've like exposed someone for hacking or getting ready to expose them for hacking, I'm blocked on them by Twitter, because honestly, there's really no reason to block me on Twitter. All I am is an advocate of legitimate play in VGC. So this is a little questionable right here personally. And also, I don't remember if I've been blocked by him before, when I was blocked. Maybe that the information came out that, oh, his Incineroar was hacked and he blocked me preemptively. I don't really know what happened right there. I'm gonna pull up this page. So now what we need to do is we need to go on to a private browser so I can figure out what is going on. Just give me 1 second. There we go. So, Legacy VGC. Pokemon VGC player, Worlds 2016 top cut, and then also has CP count of 50 right now, and he's tweeting out about the events. Now, one thing that I like doing is kind of like what I showed earlier. A lot of VGC players, you know, they collude together, they work together, they cover for each other in this kind of weird way. So he's tweeting out Gavin Michaels, talking about the event and stuff. Also, he was tweeting about this as well, 40 points away from first on Battle Spot worldwide, and this happens where the odds, so pretty much just gets like some freeze hacks or something, but we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about how the almost #1 player on the Battle Spot is using a hacked Pokemon, and that's the same hacked Snorlax that he brought to the event. So that's a little questionable right there. And then also what I like doing is I like looking for those connections. That, you know, we see that they collude together, they work together to either protect each other from like VGC accusations and stuff, like Joshua Lorsi. Can't defend it. That Beast Ball Porygon, 100% impossible, 100% illegal. What happened? No punishment, nothing from the players. If anything, the VGC community defended him against my attacks of making the accurate, 100% truthful claim that he used an illegal Pokemon and should have punishment. Because of that, he's cheating in an official event. So they all look out for each other, they all defend each other, which is why you just kind of gotta look at for tweets like this. Miss Top Cut in the open got 50 CP. Thanks Gengar Boy for the skeleton of the team. Now, I don't know what that means, like skeleton team, is he just working with him to make the teams together? Or also is it just kind of like, here's an idea, here's a rough idea, gin up this team, and then go try it out for yourself or something like that? So who is Gengar Boy? Gengar Boy, Riley VGC, former committed VGC player, also talk about like being a 3-time regional champion and stuff like that. And then he also has this picture from Worlds. So Worlds 2017, US Day 2 invites, where he's taking a picture with all the boys, and we get some common names back here. So Gavin Michaels, he's in the picture with Riley, who is also in contact with Alejandro, who is the hacker in this case. We also have Nails OU. Nails OU is a very, very interesting and very special case, which is why I brought this page up earlier. 1 second. Nails OU is the guy that doxed Wolfe Glick. So they all just work together. They all just collude together. It's crazy. So what Nails OU did was that he doxed Wolfe Glick. He abused his admin privileges on Pokemon Showdown to get Wolfe Glick's IP address to confirm that an alt was being used by Wolfe Glick, and then using that to gain an unfair advantage at the team that Wolfe Glick is practicing with, but trying to hide as well. What gets me about this is, why would anyone want to be seen? Why would anyone want to be friends with someone who is abusing their power and doxing other players? Now, the VGC community, it's very cutthroat. You know, there's cliques and stuff, but they all like work together to make sure their hacking goes undetected, doesn't get caught and stuff like that. There was an assault at one of the events that kind of divided the community. You know, people were picking sides as to who they just liked more and who they agreed with more and stuff like that, instead of actually trying to figure out who was right and who was wrong. So, I mean, there's just a lot of issues going on with VGC, and yet another hacker has been caught. So, I don't really know what to say. Pokemon Company, of course they're not going to do anything about it. That's why I want you guys to share this video, get the information out there. Pokemon Company needs to step up. They need to, you know, have more regulation for all of these official events. They need to be able to, they need to have non-corrupt judges. Like, after I do a video like this, I get tons of messages. Hey, I'm a VGC judge, I run premier event, so-and-so, not telling you where, but I allow hacked Pokemon. I even help PK hex people's teams if they want to be using them for the event. You know, it's all about the turnout, not about the legitimacy. So we have judges, we have organizers looking out and defending other players from hacking. We have the Pokemon Company themselves not enforcing their rules properly. And it's all just everyone's looking out for each other. Hopefully I can get more information out about this. I'm actually surprised. I thought that after I got Lorsey, nothing else would happen in VGC. It seems like a lot of them have been very, very careful about it. Like, I just didn't think I'd have much news about VGC. But here we have it. Top 16 world competitor, hacking his Pokemon, cheating the game. And the community probably gonna get mad at me instead of actually seeking justice. So if you guys enjoy the video, hope you all have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching.
I mean, without naming names, this has been big recently for a couple of reasons. But
Well, we all know that thought goes out the window once the topic of cheating comes into play. We all know who the Dex is talking about here, because I'm the only person that's super vocal about being anti-cheating, and if you watch the video, it becomes even more clear that they are directly talking about me, which is why this isn't an unwarranted video. This isn't an attack on them. This is me defending myself from what they're saying about me. So that's what I'm going to say right here. So now that the Dex clearly and fully supports cheating, I have to ask this question, kind of set the tone of my video. How am I in the wrong by saying, hey kids, don't cheat? I mean, that's it. I'm just saying, don't cheat. Yet that's something wrong to say. So this is going to be a wild ride, and let's get into it.
yeah.
But when you really consider it, number one, like, unfortunately, everybody is doing this, right?
Yeah.
So, like, there's no way around it, really.
And that brings up another interesting point of this video. At no point in the video do they defend VGC players. They don't say I was wrong to make these unjust claims. They're pretty much saying I'm wrong for calling them cheaters. So they're doing some kind of hypocritical weirdness right here. That's only wrong to call someone a cheater if you think cheating is wrong. But it's okay to call someone a cheater if you think cheating is right? No, they're cheaters regardless, and at no point do they say, like, do they try to defend the VGC players from cheating. They're trying to defend cheating itself, which is pretty strange if you ask me.
I just want to stress, nobody has the time. Nobody's gonna get a 6 perfect IV right-natured
Right,
Groudon.
right, exactly. And what I'm saying is, like, I feel like at some point you have to. I consider cheating a criticism of the way the game is run. I don't consider it somebody trying to do something immoral to get an edge up on the competition.
Okay, Hold on to that thought right there, because he thinks that cheating is not immoral and says it doesn't get an edge up on the competition, but later in the video they literally admit that cheating creates an advantage, which goes to the definition of cheating.
I consider it a kind of like a joke to expect somebody to do this much work. Is that encouraging cheaters and putting the people who are following the rules at a disadvantage? Absolutely it is.
Oh hey, there it is. So let's go and take all of this into perspective. That they just said that if you're following the rules, breeding, catching Pokemon legitimately, it's a joke that you're doing that, and it's also putting you at a disadvantage by doing that. So we have the definition of cheating, tagged dishonestly or unfairly in order to gain advantage, especially in game. And even if you don't believe that it gives an advantage, it's still cheating, because rule breaking is cheating. Cheating is getting of a reward or ability of finding an easy way out of an unpleasant situation. That is literally exactly what all the people that defend cheating in VGC say. It's a time skip, it's a time save, and even the deck says that on later in this video. So that goes by another definition of cheating, because it doesn't have to only be about advantage, it's just rule breaking or skirting around the rules in some way. And then going back to what they said a couple sentences before, that it's not immoral to gain an advantage over someone else through cheating. Nothing about what they say in this video makes sense, and it just keeps going on like that.
Sensationalizing the idea that people are cheating, especially when it speaks none at all to their skill as battlers or their sportsmanship otherwise, I think is a lot, like, it's sensationalist. It's not valid.
And here's how I know they're talking about me, because that's what people use when they're like trying to attack me or say something bad about me, that I'm sensationalizing this, I'm stirring up controversy and drama, and I know I'm the only person making these videos calling out the top VGC players. So they are directly calling me out on this part right here. And here's the thing about sportsmanship. It doesn't matter how many, like, if you do one unsporting thing, you're immediately not a sporting player. So he tries to defend him, like, saying sportsmanship otherwise. No, there is no otherwise. The second you cheat, the second you gain an advantage over someone else unfairly and dishonestly, as we have proven, which is cheating in VGC, which they are not trying to defend isn't cheating, and they again say this later in the video, they're already being unsporting. All these VGC players that I am not wrongfully accusing are unsporting players, so there's no defending them as sportsmanship-like players. They have zero sportsmanship about them because they have cheated. And also, the skill of battling, we're going to touch on this later as well, because they start bringing up all these other points. The skill of battling is not the only skill required in VGC, and that is because the Pokemon Company, the creators of the game, say so.
Them hacking their Pokemon does not diminish their wins, because what they did to win has nothing to do with whether or not they hacked their team.
What about all the players they disadvantaged, that you admit that they disadvantaged by cheating? Also, it does diminish their win because it's cheating. Look at any sports. Barry Bonds, he's not in the Hall of Fame because many people on the Hall of Fame board are not going to put him in because of his steroid use. Same for Mark McGwire. Even Pete Rose. Pete Rose, even though he didn't use steroids, he still broke rules, and he is not going to be in the Hall of Fame because of this. That it does diminish wins, that there's going to be that asterisk next to it saying, like, where people are going to know, well, did he really deserve that because he cheated, he uses steroids, he broke the rules. Same for Pokemon, that if these players did cheat, which you guys are saying that it's incredibly likely, and really the only option they had to do was cheating, it does take away from their skill in competitive Pokemon, because competitive Pokemon isn't just about battling.
And the idea that you're not a real champion unless you've spent question mark amount of hours trying to get your perfect IV natured Groudon is, quite frankly, ridiculous.
And here's where Kells chimes in, and I think it's like kind of weird that she just kind of like spurts in with some kind of thought that really just makes this whole thing seem a bit more silly. So it's laughable to follow the rules, and it's not laughable if you're disadvantaging other players. Oh, good to know that that is the state of Pokemon right now.
Those two things are completely different camps of the game.
Right.
No, they are not. They're talking about breeding and then actually in battle. If they were two different camps of the game, then they would be separate in competitive play. But the Pokemon Company, the rules exist. No cheated or modified Pokemon. And then to obtain the highest level of competitive Pokemon, you need to either soft reset or you need to breed. And the rules want you to soft reset or breed. They say obtain in in-game means only. And that's because they don't want any cheating involved. If cheating was allowed, then it would be like one of the suggestions that you hear from the many people in the community, that there should be a built-in Pokegen, or it should be some kind of battle simulator, that it will be like Pokemon Showdown. That if it wasn't about breeding, this would already exist. That you'd just be able to create a team, 0 effort, and it would only be about battling, except that is not true in any way, because that is not how the game works, that is not how the rules work, that is not how the competitive scene works, which is why all the thoughts on this ground, like, are absolutely wrong because of the Pokemon Company saying so.
You know, like, Rayquaza survived with, like, 2 health remaining, and it's like, well, if he wasn't perfect IV, that wouldn't have happened.
So here they're trying to defend cheating because you need to have perfect IVs or else you're not going to be able to survive, that you are going to be at a disadvantage. But that's the reason why, that these players that are cheating, it's rule breaking every way around, they're surviving the hit that they would have not otherwise survived. That the other players that are following the rules, they're going to be disadvantaged in this way, so they're not going to be able to do the same thing that these cheaters are doing, which is why it diminishes their wins, because they had an advantage that others didn't.
Yeah. If you're that trainer who values your ability to breed Pokemon and you believe that that is part of being a champion, I think a healthier solution for the Pokemon Company is to make it very easy to spec your Pokemon for battle however you like.
So yeah, this is talking about a simulator or some kind of instant team builder. Now this is a really weird statement that Alex makes here, because he sets up like, oh, if you think you're a breeder and then that is value, he doesn't even answer that question. He like sets this up and then diverts it immediately because he realizes he has nowhere to take this, because he doesn't want to call out breeders directly and say that like we're wasting our time, but then he deflects it from the breeders onto the Pokemon Company. Oh, by the way, now it's the Pokemon Company's fault that they haven't set this up yet, but that is irrelevant. For my videos, for the 2015, even like 2014 because of Ray Rizzo's Aegislash, for the last years I've been talking about cheating. It's all irrelevant because I'm talking about following the rules now. If the rules change in the future, well then my videos are going to be done differently, but it's talking about as it's happening. And as it stands right now, this statement has no relevancy to my videos, to everything I've said, and to the community. And I think the competitive community has it wrong, that they think that they are better than the creators of the game, that they think they are better than the Pokemon Company, so they're allowed to determine and dictate what actually counts for the rules, even though they didn't make the rules. They have no influence over the rules. And that's why I feel like the competitive community in VGC is terrible, and it's creating all of this cheating mentality, and now it's just being perpetuated by Dex. Remember, over 200,000 subscribers, so this is just more people trying to condone and make cheating a thing in mainstream. It's about pandering instead of actually doing what is right. And remember, let's remove Pokemon from this. How is it wrong to say, don't cheat? I can't think of any morality where I've heard that cheating is okay. So like removing Pokemon from that, it's like, yeah, these guys are teaching immoral values and they think it's not immoral because cheating is okay. Disregarding Pokemon, just cheat everywhere, kids. Everything in life to cheat is okay.
You know, YouTubers who would rather, you know, drum up controversy than be creative for a day in their lives.
And here's another personal attack on me. So apparently, I haven't been creative for a day in my life because I want to do controversy, even though you can look at all my videos. Like, less than 1%, maybe less than 2% of all of my videos. I have 2,900 videos. I've been doing this for 3 years, and apparently I haven't been creative at all of that because every day I just talk about how cheating is wrong. Every single video is about drumming up controversy about these VGC players that have cheated, and that it's wrong to call them cheaters, even though it's right to call them cheaters as long as you think cheating isn't wrong. So that's where it's like, okay, so it's controversial to say don't cheat. And that's like where you can see like Alex's voice and tone starts getting really aggressive, like as this gets more and more. That's where you can tell it starts getting directed at me. And it's all about by saying cheating is right. That I don't understand how these people can support these values and then turn it on attack because, oh, I'm not creative. You know, all my sets, all of my guides, none of that is creative because I think cheating is wrong. Wonderful.
Don't drag the reputation of good sportsmen through the mud because you disagree with the fact that they did something to save some time.
And there it is again, the time save argument, which goes back to just, it's literally definition cheating at this point, and then trying to use sportsmanship. That is a flat out untruth. That is not correct in any way. I feel like he knows he's lying at that point because he had to say sportsmanship otherwise earlier. And I was not even saying otherwise. He's saying, oh, all the VGC players are good sportsmanship. You know, the good sportsmanship that comes from time stalling, which is shown as not being sporting under the rules of Pokemon. Also, giving the middle finger to 30,000 viewers, mostly kids, in the audience. That is obviously complete sportsmanship right there, and then especially cheating. It is absolutely okay to cheat because that is a completely sporting behavior according to Alex right here. No, once you do one unsporting thing, you are not a sporting player at all, and you cannot defend them as sporting players. So if they have cheated, how am I dragging their reputation through the mud by saying they cheated? Here's the evidence that they cheated. It's cheating. Cheating is wrong. That's why the whole tone of this video is, how is it bad to say cheating is wrong? How am I that's like saying the people that called out Barry Bonds for steroids were just unrightfully dragging his reputation through the mud. Anyone that's done anything controversial in any sport, esport, or game like that, people that have used aimbots, oh, this guy got proven to use an aimbot at a tournament. It's so wrong to say that he cheated at the event, even though he used something that was against the rules. It's all the same, and yet these guys defend it.
Yes, genning and hacking Pokemon, it does fall under cheating.
It absolutely does, but what I'm saying is consider criticism and change, Pokemon.
So now, again, it's the Pokemon's fault. This just shows more about how the community thinks that they know better than the creators of the game, than the enforcers of the rules. Yeah, you gotta change, Pokemon. We know better as the community, not as the game creators. We want this to be what we think it is. And they literally admit that it's cheating. So, like, do I even need to go any further? They're saying everyone has to do it. Like, throughout this video, they're like, yeah, everyone has to do it. And it's sporting to cheat, but because everyone has to do it, and it is indeed cheating, but it's not our fault we cheat. It's the Pokemon Company's fault we cheat. That's the most backwards, stupid logic in defense of cheating that could be said.
And they're trying not to, like, shame anybody because those people just don't deserve shame.
So cheaters don't deserve shame. You heard it here from the National Dex themselves, that you should not be allowed to shame people for breaking the rules. What?
They have to do that just to survive in the competition.
Yeah.
Right.
So all I ask is if you're out there and you are in that position where you feel like it's going to be really funny if you go comment on somebody's, video, or you're going to go be nasty to somebody about genning Pokemon, just stop and think about this conversation for a minute before you do that. Because
hopefully we said it all right.
Yeah. I'm not trying to be mean towards anyone unless you're using this to your advantage monetarily.
And there's Alex's aggression once again directed at me. It's like, yeah, if you think it's wrong, cheat. I'm not mad at you unless you're doing it for monetary gain. Trying to flip this on me like I'm only doing it for views, I'm only doing it for money. It's impossible that I'm doing this because I think cheating is wrong. No, I'm only doing it for controversy, even though throughout the entire history of my channel, throughout my entire Pokemon playing, I've been against cheating. But it's such an absurd concept to be against cheating, which they admit you can't avoid. That, again, they say, like, everyone has to cheat. You have to cheat to survive in this. But it's okay, since cheating is okay. I do not understand this video. I don't understand why it was directed at me. I don't know where it came from. Sure, the question posed was, I feel like I have to cheat to get by in VGC, and then they just turn it into a rant about me. It's like... And then they also, here's the funny thing. They say I'm doing it for monetary gain when they are saying the popular opinion. They're going against morality. They're saying it's okay to cheat to gain more views, to gain more attention, to gain more favor. This is pandering right here. And that's what they're doing for their own gain, but then they try to flip on me. Okay, so it's right to say cheating is okay because that's going to get you more views, but it's wrong to say cheating is wrong because that's going to get you more views. Alrighty then, so... there we go, guys. National Dex, another one to the list of large YouTubers that absolutely are in favor of cheating. And there we go. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you all have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching. I honestly believe there are no legitimate players in VGC at this point, and it's leading to some very interesting results. You put 100 thieves in a room, someone's going to steal something, and then it gets awkward. You cheat against a cheater, And then it gets awkward. So we have Raider VGC wants to denounce the fact that people like Shibari VGC use cheats at the International Challenge. With those, you can have the whole export of the opponent's team while playing each match. This is unacceptable and completely disrespectful towards all VGC players. Update, he blocked me, truth hurts, and then he deleted his account. So things got pretty crazy pretty quick, and then he has proof of this because the VGC community, they defend their cheaters. They don't want all of this to get out and get exposed. So like half the comments were people saying like, nah, proof, and then the other half were like, yeah, everyone's doing it. You know, that's kind of like one of the takeaways here. It's like Shibari VGC, but he's not the only one to use them, but I guess he was the one that got caught because these pictures show him using it. However, it doesn't look like it's at the event, and that's another weird thing. Like, it all just doesn't make sense to me with how this ends up breaking down. I still don't fully understand what's going on here, but we're going to break that down in a second. But the problem with this Rob, Raider VGC, is that he got 7th place at Worlds 2018, and he's a hacker. But it's just that he doesn't like this hacking. He doesn't like the hacking that lets you see your opponent's team, but the hacking that gives you Pokemon that's against the rules, that's completely allowed. So here's how I found that one out. So now the problem is when people complain about this but find PK Hex acceptable if the stats are possible. This really continues to show that the majority of VGC is hatched Pokemon. This guy comes in, well, we have another Italian player. Not that hard to understand. One thing doesn't give you an advantage in battle, just lets you skip a boring and slow mechanic that doesn't require any skill. Except time is an advantage. This has been proven a million times over that if you have a player with 1 hour of experience and a player with 100 hours of experience, the player with 100 hours of experience has an objective advantage. Also, the player that is hacking is going to be the one that has Pokemon they would not have already otherwise had, so they're also using tools and using Pokemon that they did not have access to and that other people do not have access to. And in the end, doesn't hurt the community but let it grow. Then why is it that events are costing $70 and regionals are under 100 people turnout and VGC is at an all-time low? Pretty sure it's hacking because no one wants to step into this mess. Just saying. So what ended up happening here was Raider VGC, he liked this tweet. So it just kind of shows this is the VGC mentality. This is everyone left in VGC, saying it doesn't give you an advantage in battle, therefore cheating is okay. Problem is, it's against the rules. A lot of things are against the rules. Players should ensure that their game system which they enter play Pokemon tournaments are unmodified. Players found to be using modified systems may be subject to disqualification. So Rob's complaining about that rule, but he doesn't complain about this rule. So it's just absurd amounts of hypocrisy. When the cheater gets cheated against, and then wants the cheater to get punished, but then pretends he's not cheating. Well, you can't pick and choose the rules. You know, it seems like for the most part, VGC players, they just want to throw out Rule 4.1. They want to throw out the entire rule book because they find it inconvenient, and this is like the entire sentiment of VGC right now. And in case that wasn't enough for you, you know, I was just trying to put that one out there to kind of show, hey, this is what the community is up to. But some people are like, oh, that isn't him admitting to cheating. Then why would he go on and like more from the conversation, such as this? In the end, tools like PK Hex are just healthy for both the community and the game itself. So here we have a Nationals top 16 player. Here we have all of this, you know, 2x London Day 2, 5 times mid-season showdown winner. So this guy has gotten first place mid-season showdown 5 times through cheating. We also have 7th of Worlds 2018, also in a league which is pretty much 100% hacking as well, in PA6 and PA7, current CP, all that, and then what he did last year. And it's absurd. It's truly absurd what goes on right here and how mentally ill these people are. You know, there's no real competitive Pokemon without simulators like Showdown and tools like PK Hex to try and change things as the meta goes. No, because the meta can develop naturally as people just play legitimately without cheating. There is a competitive scene without hacking. That's fact. I don't understand how these people can speak so irrationally to justify cheating in a kid's game, but that's where VGC is right now. This is a majority. Almost everyone, pretty much everyone in VGC this is their mentality right now. You know, the only people that aren't cheating are the kids that show up or the people that haven't realized it's this bad and then get bodied in like the first couple rounds because they're just going up against hackers in a format that's all legendaries at this point. So yeah, it's all about the aspect you care about. Apparently the community agrees, skill-focused scene. Community doesn't matter, the rules matter. This is why you're an idiot. Where your advantage is something you get from tactical abilities, both in building and playing. Yeah, but there's another thing here that you're forgetting about. Training. That's what the rules state. Training is as important as all of that. Boredom resistance and soft reset skills. Well, that's a part of the competitive scene because of Pokemon. It's a weird state, but that's what you have to deal with. Can't just cheat because you don't like the rules, and then you can't cry when you get cheated against or feel you're being cheated against by someone breaking the same rules. But it's so dishonest, advantage in battle. That doesn't matter because you're creating an advantage through cheating and breaking the rules. So that's something that ended up happening, and then like through all these pictures and stuff, this is what made me a little suspicious. I'm like, so what's happening here is these guys have access to hacking tools. They are sharing hacking tool information with each other, but someone stepped out of line. Someone's already cheating their team, and then they decided, well, that's another problem. We have proof that he's cheating his team, but he's not calling him out for cheating his team because that'd be hypocritical. That's what Rob already does, and that's what Rob is in support of. Is cheating your team and hacking your team, but because it doesn't give an advantage in battle, then it doesn't matter to him. What does matter is when you break the same rules. You break a rule, that's it. It's not like there's a rule that's more important than the other. You're not allowed to do this at all. So that's the thing. And when I saw that, I was like, all right, that's a little suspicious. But now, the ironic name for what we call cheats for battle spot, and then international challenges. With the program PokeDigger, you can know all the informations of your opponent's team in team preview, but that doesn't even make sense. Like, I'm trying to figure out what Rob's proof is now, since the guy did delete his account and blocked him and stuff, and then the community got behind it, like saying, yeah, everyone does this. That does kind of support that something fishy was going on, but I don't know how you use this at a live event and then not get caught. Like, sure, you might have had a modified DS at the event, but you can't have a cell phone on the table. You can't have your DS connected to anything. You can't have a laptop. So this is done through an emulator. So, like, did he get the pictures that's like, oh, he's using PokeDigger on the battle spot to then get tournament information? I mean, this is all through an emulator. And because that's like, you can't just have an emulator running at the event. You cannot get away with that. So he's not going to have access to these tools and then have access to disseminating the information and seeing the team that they're using. So was it from just like doing online competitions and then getting the people's teams that way? I don't know. Like, there's not enough information, and that's another weird thing about like the gatekeeping is people don't want to give up that they know everything about hacking because it shows that they're hacking themselves. And also people don't want to like go too much in depth on this. Like, I was scrolling for any kind of information as to what's going on right here, and pretty much none is given. I saw this. We are mobilizing to bring out the truth. It was not enough to steal the teams of others, so I guess that's what he did. He was getting teams off the battle spot, seeing it, and then copying it exactly, and then hacking that in. But now cheating is also to the international challenge, seeing the sets during the game. I don't see how it's possible to see sets during the game with just a straight up DS that's already connected into the tournament realm. So you don't have any of the programs and tools to make that happen, and you don't have any access to that stuff. Like, after the battle, maybe. So, I mean, what? Like, he battled someone, and then they both ended up in finals, and he already knew what they were running? Like, you can't do it during the battle, unless you have an emulator, and you can't be doing that on your 3DS during the event. So, like, I don't understand. I also have to see people defending these facts buffoons. So that goes back to the people that are like, no, he's not cheating. But the circumstances are just so beyond strange at this point. Not everyone knows that this thing exists, Ghosty. Indeed, in any case, I'll post evidence so you're happy. So, it's like, he knows it exists, but other people don't know it exists, and because Shibari knows it exists, that incriminates him. And since he's hacking, that's okay, since everyone's hacking. So I decided to go and, like, check out, this guy, Manuel. Well, he's going and placing at events, second at the mid-season showdown. So effectively stealing regional points from people through cheating, and then supporting cheating for a very long time. Keep ignoring that the competitive scenario and stay focused on the gotta catch 'em all aspect of the game. Just go back to your shiny hunting video. The trickle of drool at the side of your mouth, leave people alone which enjoy using their brain in order to compete. This is a strange phenomenon that started happening with Pokemon over the last couple of years, is that hackers started getting more support, and they use that to just put down legitimate players. Like, you're an idiot if you're a legitimate player. Like, they don't acknowledge it as cheating anymore, they just acknowledge it as the only thing. Like, we're smart. We're breaking the rules, and that makes us smart, because we're not wasting our lives. That's why PokeTubers hacking their Pokemon is a very bad thing. That's why this mainstreaming of hacking is a very bad thing, because then it spills into the competitive scene. That spills into all these other areas. That you're teaching people that cheating is okay. You're teaching immorality for your own gain, and then this is the result, to where the legitimate players are put down constantly over it. We have this. Why don't you go catch them all in some other game? If you're bored of cheating Pokemon, used to competitive ends. Digimon, not too bad. So by playing legitimate, you deserve to go play Digimon, and you don't belong in Pokemon. When did the logic become so backwards in Pokemon that it became that if you're hacking, you are in the right, and legitimate players need to get out of our scene instead of making us feel bad that we're cheating? Here, we're not talking about 2 or 3 bad guys. If an entire community needs that type of tool in order to exist, there's something disaligned with what the game gives players and what competing implies. Well, no, again, we have the rules, so I guess you can't be mad at Shibara VGC, or else you're a complete hypocrite. He feels the need to use those tools because the rules are unfair. It's that simple, you know? And the tools are not tied in with the game. Not everyone has access to them. You have to illegally modify your console and save file to have access to these tools. And did you know that people just don't like being cheaters? People don't like doing illegal things? Strange, right? We have this. The players literally built from the ground a simulator to patch the fact that the game has great strategical depth, but would be impossible to explore properly without bypassing its mechanics. So because they built hacking tools, they deserve to cheat. Think about that. It's not cheating, it's more fixing. Except it is cheating because it's breaking the rules and disadvantaging other players. You're fixing it, but it's illegal modification. Yeah, people say like, oh, well, you're allowed to mod Pokemon because you can mod Minecraft. No. Mojang, Notch, they loved modding from the start. They gave people all the tools to do so, and they were working on a modding API forever, but they still had it to where people could mod the game. Pokemon, Nintendo, they don't want anyone touching their stuff. They don't want anyone modifying their stuff. So that's where the line is drawn. You know, it's not because some games are moddable, but it's if the developer allows it. And in this case, developer doesn't allow it, so that fix is not allowed. Competitive player, not a creator's slave. And this is why it's also just because you play competitive doesn't mean you're entitled to your own rule set. You still have to follow what the game developers say, what the rules say. If all competitive scene depends on more PK Hex and the SD than its game itself, Nintendo has something to think about. Yeah, they have to think about not, like, it also gives into like some weird copyright law stuff and losing their intellectual property protection. If they say, fine, you're allowed to just break everything and hack and illegally modify things, then they can't call it illegal modification because they have to allow it. So no, they can't open up that can of worms just because of some entitled VGC brats destroying the scene. You know, Nintendo has nothing to think about. They say, hey, no cheating. You need to be rethinking everything about your life if you think cheating is okay in a kid's game like this. It's not that simple. Pokemon's a game with various layers and souls, not easy to conciliate. Except it is, because you just don't cheat. It's that easy. So yeah, this guy, top player, we have, he also got 12th at the 2016 Nationals. So we have all these national players just cheating nonstop, placing pretty well, having worlds qualifications and stuff. These were some other people that liked it. So yeah, this tweet, I was just kind of like seeing the likes and just seeing, it's all of VGC's rotten. It's been rotten for a while, but even more so. International Challenge 5th place, Smogon Tour. So again, Smogon, which means they just use the simulator and they think they're entitled to bringing the simulator and the hacking over into the actual scene. Top 16, or 25th place, St. Louis Regionals. SP Challenge 2018, top 8, top 16. So we have all that stuff going on. Italian VGC player, 2018 Worlds Invitee. Supporting hacking, cheating himself. Just non-stop, guys, and then that's how it gets crazy. So, yeah. That's what's left in VGC. And I think it's a shame too, because I think it's gotten to the point where all the good people in Pokemon, they've just left. They don't even care about this stuff anymore. They don't want to keep up with it. They don't want to worry about these things. So they're just kind of like, well, it was fun, and then they leave Pokemon to the toxicity that's killing it, and they're not doing anything to kind of bring it back to its glory because they don't find a point. It's like, you know what? I'm just gonna play Fortnite. Go back to League of Legends. CS:GO started picking up again. There's Red Dead Redemption. So I think like that's the biggest problem with Pokemon right now. All the real people, all the people that are good for Pokemon in the community, they're gone. They don't want to put up with this anymore, and it's super sad, but that's kind of the result that we have. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching. Is this where we are as a community? That a hacker can stage a fake hacker exposed video for views and everyone's just gonna be okay with that? Like, does hypocrisy just not exist in this community anymore? So here's what we have. Hacker exposed, shiny Keldeo in Pokemon Sun and Moon. Well, this is from Visually, who has been doing hacked Pokemon giveaways since the start of Pokemon Sun and Moon. So I don't understand why people would care about the hacker exposed element when he's obviously just going to have a hacker friend hack a hacked Pokemon. And yeah, there we go. Shiny Keldeo can't exist, but he's also done it with some other Pokemon like the shiny Victini. So hacker exposed, shiny Victini. Oh, let's do Relisify memes. See, therefore my hypocrisy is okay. What a scumbag. Like, I don't understand that. I don't understand how this scumbaggery is allowed in Pokemon, especially for views. Like, everyone's all uptight about YouTube right now, like, oh, clickbait only for views, oh, this guy's only doing it for views. But here we have an example of someone who has no care about the Pokemon community, no care about Pokemon, and just cheats Pokemon to give away only for money. Like, how is this allowed? Like, how are we okay with this as a community? How has the Pokemon community gotten so bad that this is the state of things right now? Because it was just shiny Pokemon giveaways from around the beginning of Pokemon Sun and Moon and stuff like that. It's just absolutely ridiculous. And then it's multiple videos too. Hacker exposed, better steal Pimpnight's title with a hacked Pokemon team. That way it's going to look all good. And of course this guy's a hacker because he's using the hacked Pokemon client for the No Lines mod, as well as just giving away non-stop shiny Pokemon just a few months after Pokemon Sun and Moon. Like, it's just not possible what this guy is doing. And then that just kind of brings me to like the rest of the hacking shenanigans going on right now, because we have Pimpnight doing his whole hacker exposed thing as well, and then also just like shiny Deoxys on the team. Well, the odds of the shiny Deoxys being legit are just so incredibly low because shiny Deoxys is shiny locked in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, and none of the Deoxys events that have been given away have a shiny Deoxys. The only way of getting a Deoxys shiny is through the Aurora ticket, a 2004 in-life event for an item that you can use to go to Birth Island in Fire Red Leaf Green to then encounter a Deoxys. Now here's the thing. Before Emerald version, there was no using Synchronize to get a Pokemon to have like the same nature as the one you're encountering. So encountering all the legendaries is not going to have any guaranteed chance for getting the correct nature or anything like that, and also you still have to soft reset it for 1 in 8,000 chance of it being shiny. Better yet, Pimpnight's Deoxys is actually a Japanese Deoxys, it's not his, so we have a high likelihood of being hatched shiny Deoxys that is not Pimpnight's that he's using in videos, but also on the same page we can see hacker exposed, and also obtaining a Lola Cap Pikachu with Pikachu EMZ, because he's been doing like the legit giveaways as well, receiving a legit Pikachu event, receiving a legit Tapu Koko event, like the shiny Tapu Koko. So he's been doing that stuff as well, and also giving away legitimately bred Pokemon at the same time that are also fairly rare, or at least hard to initially obtain, like the Beast Ball Dratini. Now, I'm not doing this video to, like, bash Pimpnight or anything. I'm just saying that it gets really awkward when you have, like, all this questionable stuff and then making unnecessary steps to make it look more questionable while also being an advocate against hacking. Because, like, on his Twitter, he said, hey, please give me video proof of you receiving an in-life Marshadow event and then trade it to me so I can do a video and then trade it back. Like, that sounds like something someone legit would do, because you need video proof, like, especially for something like the Deoxys. Also, Game Shark is really easy in the 3rd generation on Game Boy Advance, so you can just hack in all the items without any issue whatsoever on an old Game Shark, and they can receive the shiny Deoxys that way. So it's really hard to track down the legitimacy of a lot of things that Pimpnight uses, but then there's just like this whole thing around it, like, oh yeah, I get all my Pokemon bred by me. Lady Crimson usually defends Pimpnight as well, saying like I breed a lot of the Pokemon for the teams at the same time, but even then, like, I have someone that helps me with breeding, I breed all my own Pokemon, I do my best to make it legit, and then I can't put out daily themed videos, let alone daily battles, and we see this in other parts of the community as well, like the Pokemon Battle League. All the people in the Pokemon Battle Leagues, they hack their Pokemon anyways, so they hack a team, and then that still makes it challenging to do a weekly video, let alone daily videos or multiple daily videos that have to have a theme around them. So I don't understand the Pokemon obtaining methods right here. And then there's videos like this, Full Hatch Pokemon Team 100% Legit, where Pimpnight seeks out quote-unquote Wonder Trade Pokemon that are shiny and max IVs and stuff like that. Now my question is, did Pimpnight stream this? Because I don't like keep up with every little thing going on with Pimpnight, but did Pimpnight stream like him receiving these shiny Pokemon as well? Because that could also be something a little staged just for the idea of the theme, like, hey, give me obviously hatch Pokemon, then we can do something like that. Also, these Pokemon are clearly hacked, 6 IV shiny, and battle ready. Whenever I say that, people get mad at me. Like, there's my Goodra video where I received the shiny Goodra and the shiny Oricorio. I ended up releasing them because they're hacked. I don't want any hacked Pokemon in any part of the community. People saying, oh, they could have been legit. And then, like, when pimpnight does it, it's okay. So that's why, like, there's multiple layers of hypocrisy going on right here that I'm not allowed to call out hacked Pokemon. I'm not allowed to do a hacker expose. Pimpnight is, and then the hacker visually is allowed to do it as well. There's also a couple other things I was looking at, like the sheer volume of Pokemon playthrough episodes that were put out on the first day. Like, I understand that since Pimpnight's in Australia, he did have, like, time zone advantage and a couple of extra hours to upload the content. I didn't have the exact timestamps of when these were uploaded, but it's very suspicious that you can do 14 parts of 30 minutes per episode in less than a day. Like, the rendering times, upload times of YouTube are not going to allow for that. So it's like 30 minutes on average for a lot of the parts right there, and then it was just multiple days with a straight upload. Now, we've seen other PokeTubers, they did something like this, like Hoodlum Scrafty, he actually used an illegal version of the game. He used the pirated version of the game, and then actually uploaded on November 14th. Actually, let me make sure that that's in screen region so people aren't going to, like, accuse me of slander or anything. But the actual video has it on November 14th is when all of this stuff was uploaded. Hoodlum Scrafty, he made the error of actually, like, publishing all the videos early, or at least giving you, like, the unlisted playlist. That you could actually see that he uploaded it before the game was even released because he was using a pirated version. A lot of PokeTubers did this because they had an insane volume of videos, like their entire Let's Play was uploaded before the game even launched, and then it was all scheduled and stuff like that. Now, I'm not, like, accusing Pimpnight directly, what I'm saying is this looks kind of curious, on top of also just having full shiny teams, like the full pickle team, you know, green shinies. So not only is it just having a full team of shinies, but specific shinies for a theme team, and then competitive ready. And a lot of the sweeps, I feel, are unnecessary as well. Like, I think that's just one of the biggest issues. Like, shiny Magikarp uses Z-Splash. We have, like, his whole lineup of shiny Pokemon sweeps and stuff. Shiny Mimikyu, that was done within 2 weeks, I think, of the launch of the game. We have, okay, Epic Pyukumuku sweep, December 8th. So within a month of the game, we have, like, multiple shiny Pokemon, epic Pokemon sweeps right here. Shiny Groudon, all kinds of shinies. So either Pimpnight's, like, the luckiest Pokemon breeder ever. Lady Crimson is the luckiest breeder ever, pulling out a shiny regularly for a competitive shiny, and just on theme and on command as well. Or there's something a little dubious going on here, especially as we go into, like, the older videos for Pimpnight, you know, earlier generations where there was very frequent shiny Pokemon being used for sweeps back when we had easy action replay as well as the RNG method and stuff like that. So that's why I just think that, okay, like, cool, Pimpnight, you can use dubious Pokemon, you can use Pokemon that are hatched, but, like, don't try to make this stand that now you're a legitimate player all of a sudden, even though the teams and the setups and having daily teams, like, making daily theme battles for even someone that's hacking is going to be difficult, let alone someone that's being a legitimate player that's receiving all their Pokemon like that. And even for, like, having full theme teams, just a non-stop flood of videos from the early days of Pokemon Sun and Moon, it even before Pokemon Bank and stuff like that, like, those were all fresh Pokemon and all fresh movesets and stuff, and it doesn't make sense. So that's what I'm looking at. Like, I've already called out, you know, all the scumbag hackers doing the non-stop giveaways and stuff. I was getting a lot of tweets, you know, daily, like, hey, visually is at it again. Oh, hey, look at that. He's hacking and battling his hatched friends. Like, we see a lot of the opponents. That's kind of it. Of course he's hacking because we have, like, different backgrounds with the No Lines mod, giving away shiny Pokemon non-stop, and then battling other friends that are hacking and stuff. Like, the Pokemon cheating community is just disgusting. Shiny Mew right there. It's kind of sad, like, how bad it's gotten, and then, like, no one just kind of owns up to it. And in the end, it's just done for views. We have a flashier shiny Pokemon with better looking gameplay on a level of battles that no one else could put out without using hacking devices, and it's honestly just a very upsetting thing. So yeah, I'm not here to call out Pimpnight, as I've said once again, but I want some kind of clarification as to what's going on with all these shiny Pokemon, the hacker exposed, using, you know, stuff like shiny legendaries that have, like, a 1 in a million chance of being legit just because the events are so obscure. Like, all this had to do was be a regular Deoxys, and then there's really no problems going on. Still a little dubious. That's another weird thing. Like, dedicated Pimpnight fans will be on both sides of the fence. Like, a lot of Pimpnight fans will say, yeah, of course he uses hacked Pokemon. No one else could put out volume of Pokemon in teams and videos like that. But there's a lot of people that will just, like, defend him to the death. Like, oh, of course he got that shiny Deoxys legit. Of course all of his shinies are legit and stuff like that, even though we're in a community where it's just an absurd amount of players are hacking and using illegal Pokemon. Then just, like, unnecessary shinies coming out of Pimpnight's videos as well. I kind of don't understand it. Again, you can do that if the audience is okay with it. it's something that really can't be stopped in this community right now. But we're in a pretty bad place, like, where it's just memes that, okay, I'm not allowed to call out hacked Pokemon as, like, the only legitimate player in the community, but other people that hack, they're allowed to call it out, and then they give more praise and love. So, hypocrisy in the community is just something I'm tired of, and there we go, guys. So it just keeps adding up, just keeps getting worse, and it's just crazy right now. So, if you guys enjoy the video, hope you all have a nice day. Thank you very much. Is this the part of the movie where I have to ally with my enemy to take down a greater evil? Well then, so there are some shenanigans going on in the Pokemon community right now, guys, and I will give the heads up that there is going to be some strong language, because this is some of the most fucked up shit I have ever seen out of Pokemon, guys. So Wolfe Glick has effectively been doxxed, therefore they could get his IP address to find out what alt he is using on Pokemon Showdown to then snipe his teams. And yes, that is something that has happened in the Pokemon community right now. So you might notice with these exposed videos, I'm not trying to target people, I'm trying to target problems. That, sure, I have gone after Wolfe in the past, but that doesn't mean that he is not a victim in any situation. He is certainly a victim, and this is more bullshit than almost anything I've ever covered on this channel with what has happened to Wolfe right now. And I'm still in disbelief, because it gets even worse. Like, the more we go into this, the parody, the people involved, it's absolutely nuts. I mean, look at this. People on Pokemon Showdown making these names to troll Wolfie and not getting banned because the mods are involved and they're the ones that are actually doing this. That a mod on Pokemon Showdown was the one that ended up getting Wolfe's IP address to find his alt because there was suspicion of someone using a similar team to Wolfe and playing as though Wolfe was playing. Therefore, we need to get that team and we need to have an unfair advantage against him. So this is his tweet right here. Several people on Pokemon Showdown known to leak teams. So they've done this in the past, and they've actually done it to Wolfe in the past as well, now have the ability to alt check. Heads up! So people have done this in the past, have worked their way up through moderation status, and can now grab IPs, and guess what? They're all fucking liars, as well as we get deeper into this. So there's going to be a couple of names popping up. We're going to see this guy right here, Blaira, and we're also going to see this guy right here, Enosh. They are in it, and also Nails, but Nails comes in later in the story. So I will give a little bit of a disclaimer. I'm not 100% sure of what's happened because there's a lot of tweets and there are a lot of posts. But going off the timeline, this happened at 8 a.m. on the 13th of February, so it's the 14th as I'm recording this and whatnot. And we can kind of stitch this together as it unfolds. So hopefully you can figure out what's going on. I plan on filing a complaint, but it doesn't solve the problem that you all still have the ability to reveal alts and have done so in the past, and also have done so right here. To gain competitive advantage, one of the high ups is friends with a bunch of these guys. So let's get into what happened. One of the higher up mods actually IP checked one of the accounts that was kind of looking like Wolfe's account, and then was found out that it came from Virginia Tech. So we have this right here, Enosh. I can tweet about it, but I don't want to reveal that alt just yet because I probably was dumb. Why are you worried about Virginia Tech? Did you IP check the alt? Yes, that was IP checked Virginia Tech. So Wolfe Glick goes to Virginia Tech, and he is a very predominant VGC player who likes certain Pokemon and has a certain style of playing. So when you see a Virginia Tech IP address from a high-ranked Pokemon Showdown player, you can piece together it's Wolfie, and that's what they did. They doxed his IP to find out that it was him, to get his alt, to then figure out like how his team was playing and stuff like that, just for the confirm, because when you're high ladder and you're seeing this guy go around beating up people, you're already familiar with the team, you're familiar with the playstyle, and then you can go and find the alt, and that is how Wolfe's alt was revealed. And then we have Enosh. I didn't abuse any power to reveal your alt. I can't alt check. You is general. Did any of your goons use their power in Pokemon Showdown to reveal my alt? I don't think so. That's not how alt check works, even though we find out later that yes, the IP was found. That's what that Skype conversation was for. Actually, as we can see, the Skype conversation was from 15 hours ago, then 12 hours ago was a confrontation, and Wolfe was tweeting out a lot of these things, but eventually he goes and makes a twit longer because a lot of people are confused, like, what are these random Skype posts? What are these random DM posts? What's going on right now? So on January 31st, my alt, the Elemental Wizard, was revealed via Nails. So this is Nails, he's also involved. So yeah, Nails used IP check to identify I was playing from Virginia Tech through his powers on Showdown. So he abused his mod powers, and this is very problematic to me for a number of reasons. I'm well aware that scouting is a part of the game. When I test on Pokemon Showdown, I'm well aware that I'm at risk of being discovered and having my teams identified. In 2015, my alt was discovered because of all the replays and had teams featuring Scrafty, therefore he can't have true anonymity. Now, that's also an issue right there, that, yeah, and we might have some disagreement, me, Wolfe, the rest of the community, but when you have to get someone's IP, when you have to use mod powers to find out it's an alt of a player, that's when you are breaching right there. That's it, when I consider it cheating, that you have to go through this much extent to invade someone's privacy to be able to get that unfair advantage against them, because having an understanding of their team, scouting is an advantage, and how you go about that scouting is what makes it unfair or not. And also, like, scouting is just a scumbag thing in general. You can't play legitimately, so you have to try to get any advantage that you can. Now, people involved. So Nails used IP checking, which is a power not everyone has. Then he went to share that information to a chat that had prominent players and members who have personally leaked my teams to people in the past. The worst incident being last year at US Nationals, where a player in the chat shared my team to multiple top American players, going as far to walk up to the acquaintances of mine and offer them my team without prompting. That is some fucked up shit. There are people gunning for Wolfe right now, and this is where it's like, wow, we are in the position where I'm defending Wolfe, because this is absolute bullshit. This is not what the Pokemon community is about. This is not what competitive play is about. Anyone involved with this should be removed, banned, or something. Like, at least temporarily banned. Get them out of the scene for a year, because this is fucked up. This does not need to happen. And it's not like they were like, oh, we don't want to hear we don't want to hear Wolfe's alt from you. No, they were eager. They were looking for it. They were encouraging people to be like, I think that's why I'm with Enosh. From what I'm piecing together, again, I don't have the full story, but it seems like from Enosh, he battled this alt and then went, that seems like Wolfe. Then he got his buddy Nails to IP check, and then it was, I guess, confirmed with Blara that, yeah, that's Wolfe right there. So Silvally, Gigalith, Bulu, Porygon 2. The sets, the plays, the mannerisms, high ladder, no replays. Next time I'll ask, are you Wolfe? So he pretty much said, oh, I already knew. I just needed the IP to double check. Like, he already knew, so therefore it's okay to go and dox Wolfe's IP address to go and figure it out. For the record, I was talking about my own alt on this Skype conversation. Yeah, bullshit, because this was 13, 15 hours ago. This was as Wolfe was tweeting it, but recently, about 6 hours ago, Nails came out and said, decide to step down from my Pokemon Showdown global moderator position to ensure there's no concerns about my abuse of the position for a competitive advantage. And that's also when this twit longer came out, so this was kind of later on the day when it was fully exposed. So yeah, he found proof that Nails was the one that did it, and he was engaging with these other players to go and leak it. So Enosh is lying right here. Also, same with Blara. I've given my piece. I won't make any conclusions for you. I just ask you to evaluate the totality of the circumstances before reserving judgment. So he puts his response in Pastebin, and he also goes and puts down the whole Skype conversations and this whole talk about it. So pretty much it was easy enough to go and justify that this was Wolfe, therefore we don't have any other involvement with this. We just found this out through natural causes, and then Nails effectively ratted them out by saying, yeah, I was the one that did it, and he stepped down from his position for it. So we have Blaramon, who is a 12th place US Nationals, 25th place at Worlds, and top 8 at Athens 2017, so an active player with very high status, lying about seeking information from Wolfe's alt to gain an unfair advantage. And then we also have Enosh doing the same thing. And Enosh, he's a really interesting player as well. 2nd place finishes at regionals and nationals, as well as a 6th place finish at Worlds. This is on his own Twitch stream right here. So that's in his like little Twitch bio. It's kind of not on the screen, but you can go to the page and find that out for yourself. Mostly because I don't have the screen region, but probably because people are going to ask anyways. There, we can see it. My performance, Master Division, 2nd place, whatever, stuff like that. So these are top Worlds players that are being involved with IP doxing for an alt account on Pokemon so they can gain an advantage. How does this community sink even lower than this bullshit, guys? I don't understand. Now, also the reason why it's this problem, that his alt was leaked to several prominent players, such as current World 2nd place. Oh man, Mr. Middle Finger finds his way in conversation once again, because we already know he's such a sporting player, and I already did a video on him pretty much exposing that the only way his team could exist is through hacking. Good job. And then also both 2013 Worlds finalists. So, I guess I kind of had it wrong about VGC. They're not all buddy-buddy up there. It's fucking cutthroat. They'll dox you just to get your ult. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing? And then they'll abuse mod powers. There is no limit of morality when it comes to getting an advantage to try to take down the world champion, apparently. That's some screwy stuff right there. So it does go even deeper. I was just on Pokemon Showdown. I was there just about 30 minutes ago. Nails still has his moderator power, even though Pokemon Showdown has tweeted out that he stepped down and has been removed from moderation. And we still have Blaira. Blaira is in this just as much. He needs to be stripped of all of his moderator powers as well because he lied about this. He was involved with Nails and he lied about it. He gave this information. He willingly took this information. So there is a compromise right there. We cannot have a mod that is abusing this power while lying, while also being involved in this drama right there. You lose it, dude. Like, that should be it. And like I said, I would love to see these players banned, but unfortunately the Pokemon Company, they refuse to take any action when it comes to all this crap, which is why things are so bad to begin with. So, as you can see, the narrative of my videos, it's not about targeting one person, it's about targeting issues. I've been saying it's the community, that the community gets worse and worse. Pokemon community, VGC community, Nugget Bridge community, Showdown, Smogon, all these communities just get worse and worse. That's why I call it out. I have to expose this, I have to reveal this and be like, no guys, whenever I say something's bad, it's because it's fucking bad. So that's kind of what we have right now, and then we can just go to the jokes. So I've seen some really messed up stuff in this chat. Wolfe's IP VGC, why is this guy not banned immediately? We have mods that were actively involved in this whole situation involving Wolfe's IP address. There was also, I think it was like Wolfe's 5 proxy server or Wolfe's proxy server. There was a lot of names going through. I saw one that was like 1.6.wolf or something to kind of like, or 1.0. whatever. It looked like an IP address and then it ended in Wolfe. But no, these people aren't getting banned, and they're just being pieces of shit. Like, you don't make fun of someone's information getting leaked like that, and then it's just congratulate. Oh, look at that. Good joke, guys. Good joke, guys. That's the Pokemon Showdown community, guys. This is the VGC community. This is how shitty the Pokemon community has gotten. For we're joking about this information leak, and then we're still rewarding these people and not removing them from power after abusing their power as well. So, that's kind of what pissed me off the most. That's when I saw that, I was like, oh, this is even worse than I could have imagined. So, we have some issues right there, guys, and yeah, I don't really know what else there is to be said about it. Also, Wolfe kind of blamed this. Like, it is an advantage. Like, scouting does give an unfair advantage, for sure. I went 5-4 at Nationals last year when my team was leaked by one of the members of this group in question. So they've already tried to hurt Wolfe's performance before, and it actually worked. He went 5-4, and it's the only tournament he ever lost more than 3 games in his 6+ years of playing. So they made it sting on Nationals, and now they're trying to do the same to the current world champion. Isn't that fucked? Oh, another thing that was really fucked. People, nothing but respect for your decisions. Sorry it had to end up like this. Sorry that it had to end up like, what, sorry you got caught for leaking an alternate team and giving it to other VGC players that you're friends with? Nothing but respect for leaking Wolfe? What? This is how fucked up the community is. There's no wrongdoing. There's only maturity. Sorry I had to end up like this mature thing of you to do. But it was mature that he stepped down, but you're still going to applaud the maturity of him leaking the team? Yeah? Okay, there we go. Also, with this guy, he's actually pretty prominent. As we can see right here, Philadelphia 2016, Dallas 2017, top 4. So this is a very predominant player as well. Has a huge amount of CP. Nugget Bridge Majors 16, so he got 2nd place in the 16th Nugget Bridge, and he tweets about VGC besides being, even though he's about Smogon OU and whatnot. This guy should also be banned from competitive play for quite some time. He decided to step down, yet somehow he still has his moderating powers, so I don't understand. Pokemon Company needs to step in, or the Pokemon Company needs to have a grip on what the fuck is going on. But that's kind of an issue right there, and there we go, guys. So, what else is there to say? It's bullshit. Yeah. There's no reason to get involved in with competitive Pokemon. It's all elitism, it's all just out, it's all against, like, the system's against you, because there's no sportsmanship, there's no fairness, there's no rule following in Pokemon anymore, and the Pokemon Company refuses to do anything about it, so right now we just go and watch as this shit unfolds, and it's absolutely deplorable. And remember, guys, this entire discussion was about Pokemon. Fucking Pokemon. Okay, then. Okay.